So if this person is saying so, he has to understand that his statement goes against the constitution, goes against the courts, and he is only inciting trouble. And he must be having an agenda to do so, and that obviously cannot be ignored.
पहले उनको खुदा पर भरोसा है कि नहीं खुद पर, पहले वो अपने को झांक के देखें। अगर मोहम्मद साहब को मानते हैं रसादी जी, तो पहले तो वो मोहम्मद साहब के विचारों को मान लें। मोहम्मद साहब ने कहा बेकस बेपनाह लाचार कमजोर मजलूम लोगों की मदद करनी चाहिए। रसादी जी किसकी मदद करते हैं? उन्हीं से पूछ लो, उन्हीं से पूछ लो। इस देश में न्यायालय सर्वोपरि है, संविधान सर्वोपरि है, देश संविधान से चल रहा है। तो संविधान को नहीं मानेंगे तब किसको मानेंगे? वो सब सियासत है, राजनीति में लोग ड्रामा कर करके वोट लेने का ये खाली खिलवाड़ करते हैं।
In other news that we are tracking closely, Congress MP Rahul Gandhi along with party leaders resumed Bharat Jodo Yatra on its 12th day from Kerala. Rahul Gandhi participated in a snake boat race exhibition. Unchecked Hindupophobia in the United Kingdom again. Fresh anti-Hindu attacks have taken place in Leicester, with an Islamist mob not even sparing a Hindu temple. India has taken this up with authorities in UK and has demanded strictest action possible. Taking strict action in the gang rape of a 16-year-old girl in Rewa district of Madhya Pradesh, the local administration demolished the houses of 3 people who were arrested. The Enforcement Directorate arrested Srinivas Rao, a close aide of Telangana Chief Minister KCR's daughter MLC K Kavita, after conducting raids in relation to the Delhi liquor scam. And tens of thousands of people lined the route, taking the late Queen Elizabeth to her final resting place at the Windsor Castle, showering flowers towards the hearse van and cheering as it departed the British capital following her state funeral. And with that, it's time for India Upfront with Editor-in-Chief Rahul Shivshankar.
Thanks indeed, Pranesh. Yes, as always, viewers, the biggest story here on India Upfront, up first. Viewers, we are going to begin with some visuals from Iran. India has got a reality check today. I'm going to show you those pictures, and you're going to see these pictures and you're going to be stunned by them. On the extreme right, in conservative Iran, women are taking off their hijabs. Now viewers, here on the back of a stifling patriarchy, women have begun to revolt. They are singling out the hijab as their greatest oppressor after a young woman was brutalized and killed by the moral police. Her only fault was that she didn't don the hijab in the manner the enforcers concluded has been prescribed by the mullahs. The furious protest against the hijab ought to send a strong message to backers of the hijab here in India. Here, while arguing for women's right to wear the hijab, lawyers, some of who describe themselves as liberal to the core, say that the hijab is a veil of respect and dignity and integral to the practice of Islam, and therefore India's courts have no business in banning them either from the classroom or, viewers, the campus or general society. Now, why are some of these people making these claims. This is because, viewers, here in India, in the recent past, a 3-judge bench of the Karnataka High Court came and said that the donning of hijab is not integral or is not an integral practice of Islam, and therefore it can be done away with. They also went on to say that as a veil of patriarchy, it belongs to another time. And in no modern society can anyone be cosseted in it, especially minors who have no choice in the matter. Viewers, this rancorous debate erupted here in India because some pre-university colleges in Karnataka said that the uniform must be strictly adhered to and that no religious symbols or any symbols that are in any way distinctive and not in consonance with the school uniform must be shed when students come to a place of learning as secular as a classroom. This was opposed tooth and nail. It took our courts to remind those that back the hijab that India is first and foremost a secular country, it's not an Islamic republic. Secondly, that equality and secularism are the principal virtues by which we are ordered as a society. Viewers, this entire lobby of hijab backers is today standing in the Supreme Court and arguing completely for the reinstatement of the hijab. But before they succeed in convincing the Supreme Court in India to overturn the Karnataka High Court's well-considered verdict that banned the hijab from classrooms, these pro-hijab lawyers and petitioners would do well to listen to the protesters in Iran. The women there have branded the hijab as a mark of oppression, tyranny and patriarchy. They rage against the fact that because the hijab is held up as intrinsic to Islam, they have no choice but to wear it. As if they don't, they will be deemed blasphemes and face countless indignities, even death. As I told you, viewers, listen to the cries of the oppressed as they are beaten, bullied and killed on the streets of Iran. I want you to listen to these, I don't even know what to call it, viewers, to these cries of anguish. Listen to them. Well, viewers, the message from Iran is that Islam doesn't mandate the wearing of the hijab. But here, viewers, in our courts, those that are supposed to be liberal and those, viewers, that are supposed to be forward-looking are arguing for the imposition of hijab on minors in schools. And they're saying that the donning of the hijab is intrinsic to Islam. Yes, viewers. Let me take you through some of their arguments and contrast them with what Nazneen Boniadi, for example, an activist, is saying in Iran. She says forced hijab is not cultural. Dushyant Dave in the Supreme Court says wearing hijab is to show respect. To whom one doesn't know. Nazneen Boniadi, the activist, says 1979 too, women protested against it. Women who leave Iran remove their veils. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra says women's right to wear a bikini or a hijab, it doesn't matter. She's equating, viewers. I don't know how she's even made this equation, but she is. Masi Alinijanath, Iranian journalist, don't allow normalization of forced hijab, sick of forced gender apartheid regime. Kavita Krishnan, activist, says BJP should be sensitive towards minorities. She herself in the past has argued against the practice in Iran of forcing women to wear the hijab. Yalda Zarbakch, another Iranian journalist, chants of death to dictator are loud. Malala Yousafzai, stop marginalization of Muslim women. Here, of course, in India, Malala Yousafzai says that women should be given the right to choose to wear the hijab. Viewers, why go back to a practice that reeks of patriarchy, that denies agency to women? And how are we to say today that there will be freedom to choose if you are going to argue and convince the Supreme Court that the hijab, in fact, is an integral feature, or donning of the hijab is an integral feature of the faith? Will women then have a choice? They want to take us, viewers, to a place where Iran is at. And that needs to be immediately opposed. Immediately. Let's open this up. Let's ask some basic questions. Dr. Zeenat Shaukat Ali is here with us. Dr. Ranganathan is here with us. I want to first begin with you. Majid Haidari, who's a political analyst, and Abdul Razak Khan. Advocate Nilofer, a lawyer. Miss Nilofer, have you heard the arguments that are going on in the Supreme Court, ma'am? You come from a state where at one time the hijab was not prescribed by anybody. Today, on the back of militant fundamentalists, you can't leave your house without a hijab, because if you do, radicals say that they will throw acid on your face. Why do you want this argument to be given more and more fodder, fuel, etc. in your Supreme Court, when even women in Iran today are risking death to oppose the hijab? Can you explain?
Rahul, you cannot compare two countries, because in Iran you have Islamic hijab rules, they have proper dress code there. So if they make any violation, law and order is there to see those things. Whereas in our country we have religious independence.
Nilofer, do you support the laws in Iran? I'm only asking you this question. I'm asking you.
See, I'm not the subject of that country.
No,
so
I'm asking
better
you a
not
question.
to ask me this question.
No, I'm asking you a question.
See, let
very
me tell you, that is Islamic country. If
do you
have,
believe, first of all,
Rahul, if they have chosen any law for them, it is for the betterment
let me
of those
ask you a
people who
simple
have
basic
chosen to
question.
be.
Nilofer ji, please, give me 30 seconds, please. This is very important. Don't try to get away by saying, oh, this is Iran and this is India, etc. Of course, we all know that. But there is a strong thread that ties everything together. So don't obfuscate. And I'm asking you, Ms. Nilofer, you're an advocate. Is, first of all, in your understanding, the hijab, the donning of the hijab, integral to you, the practice of your faith, number one. Number two, do you think that the state ordering women in Iran to wear the hijab is right? Two basic questions.
Yes, why not? Because Islam provides that one has to cover her head by the headscarf. It is provided in the Islam. So if they are adopting it because majority of them are the Muslims, let them choose their laws according to their own people, according to their choice. But the country we have, the country where we live, we have secular country. Here we find people belonging to different culture, belonging to different religions. We have religious independence here. Our constitution provides fundamental rights to profess and propagate our law. We don't have any particular dress code wherein I or a person belonging to any religion, he or she will be told that you need to wear this and you don't need to wear this. So if somebody is making violation of the law, they have to deal it accordingly, let them deal. But if somebody will question my laws in my country, definitely I'll say that these are the laws which have been made for our betterment, and I will be professing only that according to my religion also and according to the laws, constitutional laws which are being provided to me. So I hereby want to put a point before that let it be at the end of the choice of the female. If she wants to cover herself, let she allowed me to do it. If she doesn't want to do it, let others allow her to, because you cannot dictate us what to wear, what to eat, how to walk and how not to walk.
Viewers,
this should be the choice of the female at the end of the day.
If it is as Madam Nilofer says, prescribed, she used the word, not me. Islam provides for this, the headscarf. It's prescribed. Then where is the choice? Especially to that of a minor who lives with her parents. Her parents will simply say, I'm sorry, if your school says that you can't wear the hijab to our classroom, don't go to school, sit at home or go somewhere else, maybe to a madrasa or wherever else. Because
Rahul,
you have let me finish. You have no say in the matter. Are you not from a state, madam, where certain individuals stepped up, like the Duktarane Millat and several other organizations with a radical outlook, and told women, you have no choice in the matter, wear the hijab or we will throw acid on your face. True or false? True or false?
See, Rahul, we don't face such threats.
Madam Nilofer, are you lying on national TV tonight?
I am not lying. Rahul, let me complete.
Millat never, you tell me.
Rahul,
was the Duktarane Millat wrong to order women to don the hijab? Yes, no. Asya Andrabi, do you think she's a terrorist?
I'll say yes. At the end of the day, it should be the choice of the person. How he or she wants to profess and propagate her religion.
So tell me that Duktarane Millat's chief, Asya Andrabi, is a terrorist. Simple.
See, Rahul, I am not here to give the certificate to all the people what they are doing or what they are not doing.
Madam,
law is there.
If a young woman walks out,
law has to take its own. Law has to take its own recourse. Their cases
law has to take its own
courts. Let the court decide. Let the court decide. I am not judge here saying that I will issue the judgments or the verdicts. Their cases in the courts. Let courts come up with the verdict. Proper verdict. To what organization they belong.
Which should be aligned to the tenets of Islam.
For example, Rahul, let me complete.
1 second. Rahul, I've heard you. I've heard what you're saying, but I'm going to fact check you.
Just give me 10 seconds. If I am born in a Hindu family and as per my culture, as per my religion, they will nourish me and they will teach me everything what is to be done in a Hindu family or according to Hindu religion. Suppose they are telling me that you don't have to eat the beef, right? Will you hold responsible the parents or the minor that you are doing this because your parents have taught you? Likewise, if I am born in the Muslim family, whatever their religion provides you, they are teaching it to their children, and you cannot hold them responsible for that for which they are teaching their
Let me tell you, ma'am, how wrong you are. Sadiq Pasha.
I am not wrong. Yes, I may finish,
madam. Now, आपका मैंने सुन लिया. Thank you. Now listen to the other side also. Please.
Surely.
1 second, Rahul. 1 second. I know she is comparing apples with oranges. We will expose her. But give me 30 seconds. This is what Sadiq Pasha says. Who is Sadiq Pasha? Sadiq Pasha is the father of a young girl child who goes to school. Hijab is more important than school to us, says Sadiq Pasha, as he takes his daughter back home from Gausia school in Mandya district of Karnataka. Repeated attempts by school staff to convince him failed as he walks out saying, I have a problem to send my child without hijab to class. This whole business, viewers, of saying Islam prescribes it and I still have a choice even though Islam prescribes it is complete baloney. If that was the case, you wouldn't have had people being whipped into the ground in Iran or in Srinagar, where acid has been thrown on women's faces by Duktaran-e-Millat and there has been no protest. Beauty shops have been shut down. Viewers, you don't even have choice on whether you want to tweeze your eyebrows or not. There is no choice. So Newshour is misleading you. Dr. Ranganathan, let me bring him in. Dr. Ranganathan, what do you make of this response from Newshour?
Good evening, Rahul. Look, every adult human being, Rahul, has a choice. Religion or freedom. If you choose the former, and there too, a particular religion, then you should be aware that there are strict codes for you to adhere if you are to be a true believer. And one of the codes is the dress code. Problem comes when those who are embarrassed by these codes on idol worship, homosexuality, apostasy, heresy, fornication, drinking, eating, dress code, wife beating, blasphemy, they fear being called illiberal and hypocrites. And so they end up condemning and branding as radicals those poor Muslims who are faithfully following the fundamentals. In other words, they snare the fundamentalists, but they spare the fundamentals. And the funny thing is, this group of hypocrites includes non-Muslims as well. Begani Shadi mein Abdullah Diwana. And these would be these leftists and virtue signaling folks who open a Hindu holy book and immediately want to burn it, but open an Islamic holy book and are critical of the quality of the paper it is printed on. So while many of the leftists, for them, hijab or a burqa is an oppressive symbol of misogyny and patriarchy and they quickly equate it to ghungat, they dare not disclose that the Holy Quran is very clear on how a woman should dress, quote, and tell the believing women to reduce their vision and guard their private parts and to wrap their head covers over their chests and not expose their adornment except to their husbands, fathers or males having no physical desire. 24:31. Ya ahuya al-nabiyu kul liyaz wajika waba natika waniza al-muminina. How about that? I quoted in Arabic, quote, O Prophet, tell your wives and your daughters and the women of the believers to bring down over themselves part of the outer garments that is more suitable, that they will be known and not be abused. 33:59, end quote. So every true Muslim woman has to adhere to this dress code of a burqa or a hijab. Now let me address the broader issue, Rahul, very briefly relevant to India. You talked about the schools and a couple of lawyers who were talking about this in the courts. Rahul, I am clear. There should be one rule and no duplicity in implementing it.
Want to follow their religion the way they want.
So a school can ban hijab or a
What is
burqa
Mr.
because
Ranganathan's
it
problem?
has. Rahul, please.
No, Mr. Khan, please don't.
Ask him to be quiet.
I'll bring you in. Let him finish his point.
Because,
please don't interrupt. That's not fair. He never interrupted Nilofar ji. Nilofar ji is not interrupting him. So let him finish. Yeah.
Thank you. As I was saying about the thing relevant to India, I am very clear. There should be one rule and no duplicity in implementing it. There should be no exception. So a school can ban hijab or a burqa because it has a specific rule of a uniform, but it cannot at the same time allow a tilak, a kada, a cross or a turban. What about janehu, you ask? Well, as long as these religious symbols are concealed and not exhibited. In any case, don't schools allow entry to circumcised boys? Circumcision is a religious commandment in Islam, but because it is concealed, thank God for that, it should be fine. Look, whether you think it is misogynistic or regressive or a symbol of subjugation, if a school allows for dress codes or identities of other religions, then it has to allow for Islam. No double standards, Rahul, just 30 seconds. But hear this. By allowing religious dress codes, symbols, identities into educational institutions, we are on the road like Iran to normalizing draconian, misogynistic, supremacist religious orders and commandments. Where would it end?
Well, let me tell you, viewers.
Not freedom.
Exactly. I agree with you, Dr. Anand Ranganathan. You can't have both. You can't have something that is prescribed by religion and then also, at least when it comes to Islam, exercise the right to choose. Because I'll tell you what happens, viewers.
10 seconds, Rahul. Because I was interrupted. I just wanted to end on, if I can.
Yeah. Please.
You know, we talk of oppressive, subjugating codes. Has anyone wondered why infant genital circumcision is banned in the Nordic countries? Do you ask the Muslim infants or infants whether they would be all right with being circumcised? No. But does anybody has in this country the guts to say that that is oppressive against a small baby? No. So we are allowing that, aren't we?
Exactly, and this is exactly what happens. Kashmir women face threat of acid attacks from militants. This is the Independent of the UK in August 2001. I'm quoting. Muslim women of Kashmir are bracing themselves for fresh horrors on Saturday. A militant Islamic organization has threatened to begin punishing women who appear in public in outfits other than the all-enveloping burqa. Thrown out of shop for wearing jeans and not burqa, Assam woman. This is 2021, 11th month of the year, November that is. Then you have WhatsApp group warns Muslim girls over removing burqa. This is of May 2022. All sorts of punishment. So today, viewers, just to appease one section of society, and it's happened in the past, the same progressives who attack Iran are arguing for the same. Here in India, they are telling the Supreme Court, sorry, the High Court is wrong. Now, Dr. Ranganathan interprets or reads out of the Quran and tells us that it is part and parcel of religious practice. There are others who say it's not. Even the Iranian women who say it's not. Well,
It's wrong.
Well, viewers, let me tell you. If you tie it up with religion, there is no choice. And this is what is being told to us by these poor Iranian women. It is horrible. I didn't want to play out the video where they are whimpering because they are being lashed and kicked just because a sliver of their hair was on display, viewers. Not even their whole head. So there is no choice once you resurrect religion. Majid Haidari, am I wrong or am I right? Mr. Khan, am I wrong or am I right? Let me ask Mr. Khan. Abdul Razak Khan with us. Abdul Razak Khan,
Please allow me.
if it is prescribed, how can there be choice, sir? Anyone who decides to deviate will be called an apostate, blaspheme.
Sir, it is very unfortunate that we are discussing a protest that happens in Islamic Republic of Iran with India, which is not an Islamic Republic, firstly. Secondly, forget women in a progressive and a developed country like Korea. Even men, for that matter, cannot laugh as per their choice, cannot do their haircut, cannot wear dress code. Everything has their own country's rules, which they have to follow. Here in this country, Islam is followed, so this girl had to follow the rule. She broke the rule, she was arrested, she died a custodial death, like how 4,484 people die in this country. Now forget all these things when it comes to hijab. Let me tell you, it is an individual choice of a woman. We are not forcing Sara, we are not forcing Nora Fatehi, even they are Muslim girls, but they don't wear it. So what is our problem? Ultimately, what I am trying to convey today is, these are some of the hypocrites who sometimes invite rules of Saudi Arabia, rules of Iran, when an innocent girl gets raped in this country, because they feel for that girl. Oh, a young girl, innocent girl is raped. Now let us go. These are the same people who were chest thumping the encounter that happened in Hyderabad. These are the same people who were chest thumping when Pandey was
different issues, please.
UP. So
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We are saying if it's prescribed. No, hang on, 1 minute. Let's get to brass tacks. Let's get to brass tacks.
For you it might be suppressive.
Let's
for me
take
it
to
is
brass
pride.
tacks. Sir, do people Do young girls under the age of 18 have a choice? Let me ask Miss Shaukat Ali tonight. Zeenat Shaukat Ali, what
Sir, who
choice
are
do they
you
have?
and I to decide
Abdul
for
Razak
their
Khan
life?
says, Abdul Razak Khan says it's in our book. But if it's in our book, don't worry, you still have the choice because we live in a secular society. Do you actually have the choice at certain levels? And at certain, is there a guarantee?
Can I ask him a question?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Do you want me to respond, Rahul?
Yes, you can. Please go ahead.
Okay. The first thing I'd like to say is that whatever has happened in Iran with this girl showing her lock of hair or showing her hair is brutal, condemnable, deplorable and totally out of sync with Islam. I do not agree with Dr. Ranganathan's interpretation, and perhaps one day you can put him and me on and on, one to one, and he can quote and I will counter. Okay, so, but I'm not into that at this point of time. At this point of time, what the point I am trying to make is that veiling in Islam, this kind of hijab is not mandatory. I would like to challenge anyone on this panel to show me where it is mandatory. Yes, it is said that you cover yourself and you cover your bosoms when you go out. There was a circumstance that has asked for it, and there are multiple interpretations right from the early centuries to the modern centuries where this has been interpreted in different ways, but nowhere has been it's called obligatory. It is neither fard or and nor fard or kifaya. Fard is obligatory. That means not on an individual basis, not on a collective basis. So therefore, I think that whatever the High Court judgment has come, where it is said that in a school, see, India has a constitution where women can dress as they choose, and that is the greatness of our constitution. So she can dress as she chooses wherever
But Dr.
she goes.
Ali, but Dr. Ali,
It's a school and there is a
yes,
uniform.
that is true. But Dr. Zeenat Ali, listen to me, please.
Yes.
You know what is going on right now in the Supreme Court, don't you?
Yes.
They are quoting the same verses, perhaps, that Dr. Ranganathan has quoted. And they are saying that it's in the book. The High Court has got it wrong. And the Supreme Court, now I know that you differ on this point, but forget that. Let's forget that. Let's set that aside. I'm only wanting to ask you, Dr. Ali, straightforward question. If for a moment we concede that it is in the books, can it still remain a matter of choice, yes or no? Or is the Iranian example telling us that if it's in the book, you are goners?
I agree with you, Rahul. First of all, when we are looking at any kind of a context within the Quran, you take the word hijab and nowhere is it referred to as women's clothing. I have written a whole article.
Sure, I'm only asking you, if the Supreme Court accepts the position of the great Dushyant Daves of the world, who in the cloak of I suppose, championing religious freedom rights have forgotten that when you do that in the context of Islam and the Supreme Court is convinced that yes, it is an essential practice, you will take away the agency of choice from the woman. Am I right or am I wrong, Dr. Ali? Simple.
No, the point you are making is quite right.
It's quite right.
You see, the whole point is...
It's quite right. So today the message from Iran, Dr. Ali agrees with me. Yes, ma'am. But ma'am, what if the court goes with what Dushyant Dave and Dr. Ranganathan are reading out or will be reading out in the context perhaps of the arguments in court? If they come up with enough material to convince the court that look, at the end of the day, this is prescribed, or as Nilofer said, advocate that Islam provides for this. If they come to that conclusion...
I cannot agree with that. I cannot agree with her.
No, you may not agree with her. The courts might end up agreeing with her. Dr. Ranganathan is raising his hand again. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, why?
No, but I am raising my hand. I am raising my hand.
Dr. Ali, 1 second. Let him finish. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan.
Rahul, yes, you known me for a while, Rahul. I only deal with facts. And may I just make 2 points very respectfully. Number one, on Miss Ali. Miss Ali, I did not interpret the verses. I quoted the verses. I never interpret the verses. I quoted 24:31. And no, ma'am, please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt. Please, I beg of you.
Which you have to give.
Rahul, we can't, I did not interrupt this lady. Please. Yes, thank you. So I quoted 24:31 and 33:59, and both those verses incidentally are context devoid. Allah is telling, "O Prophet, tell your wives and women of believers," and the other quote is, tell the believing women, and he is very clear. So now you may interpret it, but the fact is there are more than 1 billion Muslims who interpreted the way that you don't.
Okay.
That is the thing. That is why I quote. Now,
I just want to say.
One point I wanted to make very quickly. 10 seconds, Rahul. Rahul, tell me, because I've been constantly
What
interrupted.
is the problem? It is
Rahul,
guaranteed under Article 25 for us.
Rahul,
What is the problem?
Rahul,
Okay, I'll tell you the problem. Everyone, please.
No,
Please, let Dr. Ranganathan finish his point. Let's stop speaking over each other. We have finite time. I want to hear each one of you. Rahul Ishwar has not even spoken. Majid Hydari has not spoken. If you keep interrupting, we are not going to have time. And then people will troll me to say I don't give time to my panelists. I don't have infinite time. So Dr. Ranganathan, finish your point. Please,
Yes.
I don't have to become the school teacher every night. Yes.
Yes. Rahul, I've already addressed Miss Ali. I think other than that, it's redundant what I say. But now very quickly, I want to talk about Mr. Razak. Him saying that it doesn't matter what is happening in Iran or what is prescribed in the Islamic scriptures. What is Indians going to do? So Indian constitution is what matters. So here I want to ask him. Does the Indian constitution or Indian laws obligate all male to have circumcision? No. But is it obligatory upon Muslim infants to have circumcision or not? If it is, then your theory is illogical and irrational. Because will you tomorrow tell a Muslim to not have circumcision? Answer yes or no. You won't. You will say it is essential for a Muslim baby to have circumcision. Now, why would you say that?
So this is the problem, viewers. The problem is when you start invoking religious rights, then a secular state cannot stand in your way.
Precisely.
And you have, Majid Hydari, the right to practice your faith. And if you don't, then the matter doesn't go to the civil courts. You could move, but the courts will probably let it go. And you will be ostracized from your community. You will face deprivation of the type that you are seeing in Iran. And you can't then say, oh, Iran is some, religious state, this, that. Am I not right, Rahul Ishwar? Am I not right? What has the Karnataka High Court said? Thankfully, the Karnataka High Court, has not agreed with the Majid Haidaris or the Abdul Razak Khans or the Nilofars. Thankfully. They have said, wearing hijab, yes, or with you, Dr. Ranganathan. Fortunately, for the women of our country, fortunately. What did the High Court say? Wearing hijab was recommended as a measure of social security for women and facilitate their safe access to the public domain. At most, the practice of wearing the apparel may have something to do with culture, but certainly not with religion, unquote. Isn't it, Rahul Ishwar? And therefore, you can't wear it to a classroom. Now look at these people. Instead of celebrating this balanced judgment based on an interpretation which is studied, they want to side with Sadiq Pasha, who says hijab is more important than school to us. Our kitab is bigger.
Okay, Rahul, just 2 points. One, let me quote Holy Quran. I'm a Hindu activist who is deeply admiring of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and let me quote Holy Quran. 24:31 Surah An-Nur. And tell the women Islamic to lower their waist and be modest. Modesty is the core point in that position. And please remember, in Holy Quran, hijab or parda explicitly has not been mentioned. And the idea of modesty, which every religion supports, whether it be Hindu, Christian, Buddhist, Jain, or any religion supports, modesty for both male and female is invoked. Let me quote what Mahatma Gandhi said in 1947 Fatehpur. He said, when he was asked, it was regarding parda, he said, true parda should be of art. I go so far as to say that even Quran Sharif does not mention outward parda. And in such times, what is the point in continuing the custom here? No, it was father of the nation, one of the great Hindu-Muslim unity person, Mahatma Gandhi said. Here there are three core issues. One is the institutional right higher or the individual right higher. Let us be very honest about it. The institutional right is higher than the individual right. And let me quote one glorious example, whether we can have religion and faith, religion and science together. This is the photo of, if you can see on screen, this is the photo of Justice Fatima Bibi, the first female judge in Indian Supreme Court on any community, mainly Hindu, Christian or Muslim. Justice Fatima Bibi, whenever she was in honorable court, she used to adhere to the court dress code. And whenever she used to go to the private functions or Islamic functions, she used to have her head covered in the Islamic way. So there are multiple interpretations. I believe High Court has given a balanced verdict. Please remember, Holy Quran inspires that core value. How we implement this is a part of the custom, culture, socio-cultural context and type. I hope we will be able to find a nuanced middle ground rather than alienating both positions on which we either give in a religion or say that no, this either zero sum game is not happening. So let us hope to find a middle ground which is good for female education, because our Muslim girls need education. They should come forward. We should not alienate them. At the same point of time, institutional rights over individual rights cannot be compromised.
Okay. So let me bring in Majid Hydari very quickly. He hasn't spoken. Mr. Hydari, I know that you disagree with Dr. Zeenat Shaukat Ali. You believe that it is an essential practice. Now I want to ask you, let's for a moment agree with you. Let's say yes, the High Court got it wrong. Then I want to ask you, can there be choice for a woman? If it is prescribed by the faith that you have to wear a hijab and she refuses to do so because she wants to exercise her choice, Majid Hydari, will there not be some consequences? Is it not a reasonable assumption that there will be consequences, Mr. Hydari?
Well, certainly, Rahul Saab, firstly, drawing comparisons, drawing parallels between Iran and India over the issue of hijab, it reminds me of that beautiful couplet. तेरे आजाद बंदों की ना ये दुनिया ना वो दुनिया, यहाँ मरने की पाबंदी वहाँ जीने की पाबंदी. When we talk about the issue, we forget that the women happen to be the sufferers in both the cases. In Iran, they are punished for not wearing hijab, and in India, they have restrictions over wearing hijab. And nobody is talking about their right of choice, what they want to do. Do they want to wear hijab or do they want to wear bikini or whatever? We are not talking about their choice of right, even in the court of law. But coming to this point, what worthy panelist Dr. Ananda Ranganathan today said, firstly, he was very decent. He didn't sound Islamophobic anywhere. But what he said, I agree with him on most of the points, where he said that yes, Islam has some reservations and Islam has a diktat over this, Holy Quran has a diktat over this. But India is a secular nation with a constitution.
अरे सर, मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ माजिद भाई, मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ, आप उसका जवाब दीजिए. आप फिर से ईरान चले गए, तेहरान चले गए, इधर चले गए, forget that. Don't book a ticket to Tehran. It's not good for you either. I want to just tell you straightforward a simple question. If it is mandated in the faith, will it not be difficult for a woman to exercise her choice without upsetting those who are conservatives? Yes or no? Simple question.
So that is why we have been saying we cannot have a uniform civil code.
There you go.
India is unity in diversity.
There you go, viewers.
You will have
we cannot have a situation. There it is, QED. So, can you imagine, viewers? Can you imagine?
We need to have constitution.
Can you imagine, viewers, the hypocrisy here? The hypocrisy. They want to exercise their identity in this country by going back to the holy book and conjuring from there some sort of verse which legitimizes the wearing of the hijab. And then they very cleverly say, no, we are only doing this because we want to ensure that we have the religious freedom to do what our religion prescribes to us, but since we live in a secular country, we will not insist. We will not insist that women who refuse, Muslim women who refuse to wear the hijab, they can. They can do so. Now viewers, you know what is happening in Iran. What is the guarantee that some fundamentalists won't come out and flog them in public? Hasn't it happened in this country? Despite us having a secular constitution, certain people are beheaded, certain people are ostracized. It's happening every day. And it happens on all sides, in every religion here, in every sphere of our society. The Cups came out and said, you can't have intra-gotra marriages. The Supreme Court came in and said, sorry, it's not prescribed anywhere, strike it down. And they had to. The Cups didn't go back, they tried, but they couldn't go back. But here, viewers, they are going back. They are going back many centuries. And we are seeing what happens. I'm not trying to draw an example with Iran. I'm only talking about, let's take an Indian example, viewer. There are several of them. And I told you about Mr. Pasha, who dragged his girl child out of school in front of everybody in Mandya district, saying if they don't allow you to wear the hijab, out you go. Sorry, you can't study. And Sibbal in court says that Muslim girls are leaving formal education and they are heading out, either opting out of college or formal education, or they are going to madrasas. Can you believe it, viewers? These are the bastions of our liberal creed in this country. And they've done this earlier with Shah Bano case, where they threw in their lot with the fundamentalists. Did they not, Dr. Ranganathan? Am I wrong or am I right?
No, you're absolutely right. And Rahul, just briefly to end, as I said, as I began by that statement, that you have to choose between religion and freedom. There is no choice if you choose religion. And here, if I may, my good friend Rahul Ishwar is here. I mean, he's done a bit of virtue signaling, if I may be, very frank about it, Rahul. But I have a simple yes or no question for you. When you talk about there is choice that exists, even within religion, I want to ask you a very simple question. Do you condemn the concept and the necessity for male infant circumcision that is prescribed in Islam? Yes or no? Do you condemn it?
Look,
No,
I believe
Anandji, it's a different religion. We have limitations to intervene.
Different
And
religion.
if there are reforms,
There we go.
let reforms come from inside.
There we go.
No, I don't agree with it. I don't belong to that religion. But let the reform come from them. And we should be respectful of their tradition. This is not my word.
That's precisely what I'm saying.
Guruji Golwalkar also
Have
had
you
a similar
asked- have
position.
you asked-
Let the
have you
reforms come
asked a-
from within every
Have you
religion.
asked a 3-month-old infant how painful it is? Have you asked? Have you asked a 3-month-old infant, Rahul Ishwar?
These things, let that reform
Is
come
this the
from
choice
within.
you are
Islamic
providing?
reformers are there.
Is
Muslim
this the
reformers
choice you
are
are
there.
providing to a
there can be no
3-month-old
choice.
infant?
You can't ask a minor
Where is the choice?
and expect her to take a position when she's dependent on her parents for everything, to strike out on her own and say, no, I don't want to wear my hijab. I can't expect Mr. Pasha's daughter to suddenly say, sorry, I'm not going home with you, I'd rather study. That can't happen, viewers. It just cannot happen. And we have a very, very unfortunate set of circumstances taking place in our Supreme Court, where the great liberal advocates of liberalism in this country are going against the High Court's order, saying that, listen, you got it wrong. Supreme Court has no right to sit in judgment of religious practices. And viewers are saying that we will still leave it to choice, you see. It cannot be. And this is the same lot, by the way, that went against the conservatives in the Sabrimala case and said, wahan to aap interpret kijiye. And Rahul Ishwar will tell you about the
our
hypocrisy
leftists,
there.
It's a given that they are hypocrites. Our leftists pseudo-secular.
Well, sir,
they always have a double standard. And
can you imagine what they're condemning? Their hypocrisy, what it will condemn? Millions of Muslim women too. That fate. Viewers, as I told you, in Kashmir, in Mandya, on WhatsApp, women are told in this country, you dare step out of your homes, we will come after you. Forget that. Riding with a non-Muslim, you could be killed. Here it is, viewers, these are examples. It might happen to one, it might happen to 1 out of 100, but it still happens. It's only a little. Ruby Khan prays to Ganesh, fatwa released against her. MIM vows to implement fatwa against Taslima. She made the same argument. Give me the right to choose. Their activists nearly attacked her in Kolkata, if you remember. Nusrat Jahan, actress and TMC MP, attacked. Fatwa happy Darul Uloom issued a fatwa against Nusrat Jahan for marrying a non-Muslim. Fatwa on women for teaching yoga. There are many examples. Darul Uloom, Deoband issued a fatwa banning un-Islamic eyebrow plucking and hair cutting. It can just go on. In Kashmir, they said a rock group, women's rock group should disband, and it did. No one stood. There was no right to choose there, viewers. And we were here upholding secularism. Think about it. Just think about it. I want to move on. Viewers, hate attacks. Hate attacks against Hindus are on the rise. On your screens, you can see examples of this. The latest instance of organized violence comes from Leicester in the United Kingdom, where Islamist mobs attacked Hindu residents. Not just this, the mob also attacked a Hindu temple. On your screens, you can see one of the mobsters climbing onto a ledge to uproot and later burn a saffron flag. Also on your screens are attacks on Hindus in the United States and Bangladesh. In all these attacks, Hindus have been attacked for being Hindus. The attacks that are unprovoked may not be unsurprising, viewers. Like Jews, Hindus are now being targeted because they are being maliciously character assassinated. It's happened in the past, even in our country. It happened in Kashmir, and now it's becoming global. In India, among a certain section of left ecosystem, being a Hindu is almost a stigma. Being a Hindu means you must be a bigot, a supremacist, and a fascist. Here are some examples of how Hindus are being villainized. Let me read out to you, viewers, an open letter signed by 49 eminent personalities. Eminent, viewers. Lynching of Muslims, Dalits and other minorities must stop. Jai Shri Ram has become a provocative war cry today. Put a stop to the name of Ram being defiled in this manner. Viewers, dismantling Global Hindutva Conference, what the organizers said it was about. Rise of militant Hindu groups in India, well documented. Hindu groups, you are linking the faith to terror. Corresponding escalation of violence against religious minorities. Because of these Hindu terror groups, minorities are being targeted in our country. International attention directed at exclusionary citizenship laws. Sonia Gandhi during Chintan Shivir of Congress May 2022. People compelled to live in constant state of fear, vicious targeting, victimizing, brutalizing of minorities, as if all Hindus have become fascist hate mongers. That is the import of these words. Other politicians have called Hindus chotiwala rakshasas. Hindus are demonized in India, viewers, and now, as a natural extension, they are becoming figures of hate abroad. It's an easy correlation. Look what's happening. August 2022, Indian American abused by a Sikh in California, called a dirty Hindu disgusting dog. In an 8-minute rant, you can see it on your screens. In August 2022, a Mexican woman caught hurling racist rant in Texas. In August 2022, Mahatma Gandhi's statue vandalized outside a Hindu temple in New York. Mahatma Gandhi's statue was vandalized for the second time. Why? Because, and they're all bizarre, viewers, because he's a Hindu from India. So he must be vile. Surprising. Let's open this up. Let's go straight across. Dr. Ranganathan, is this now the export of Hinduphobia that we're witnessing?
Rahul, first of all, thank you for discussing this very important topic. It's very important. And let me tell you, it is the same everywhere. The fate of Hindus, I am afraid, is sealed. Just the other day, I talked about 8 reasons why Hindus are 8th-class citizens in this country. But what is happening to the peaceful community of Hindus in Leicester is appalling. And Rahul, I don't want to sound patronizing. Please don't misunderstand. But wherever you look, Hindus are suffering. I think it is important to highlight their suffering in a developing country than a developed one like the UK. Therefore, even at this juncture, when all my sympathies, believe you me, are with the people of Leicester, I want you and all Indians and all the diaspora to look at Bangladesh very briefly, 30 seconds. From 29.5% in 1931 to 9.5% in 2011 to what many census officials believe is less than 8% in 2019. The Hindu population of Bangladesh or erstwhile East Pakistan has dwindled decade on decade. To add to the misery, 11.3 million Hindus were forced to flee between 64 and 2013. 2.4 million perished in the 1970-71 genocide. As many as 1.2 million Hindu families have been dispossessed of 2 million acres of land. 12.6 million is the current Hindu population. If this trend continues, there will be none left in 30 years. The recent spate of terrible violence, rape, murder, looting, arson, temple destruction was a pointer to an ominous future of the Hindus there. Rahul, Hindu homes were being systematically burned. Will we wait? Will we wait till we have to airlift the last Hindu from Bangladesh like we did from Afghanistan? What we don't realize is that Bangladesh and Pakistan will soon go the way of Afghanistan. Hopefully the UK won't, but one can't be sure.
Well, viewers, let me tell you, I'm not sure about anything anymore, quite frankly. Quite frankly. Because there has been a systemized campaign to paint Hindus as violent, intolerant denomination. And Mr. Khan, you are one of them. You constantly, and I'll tell you, in Leicester, these poor Hindus, Indians, forget about Hindus, were walking through a locality chanting Jai Shri Ram on their way to the temple. And they were beaten. Their temple was desecrated. They were attacked.
But it all started after India's victory against Pakistan. It all started against...
Sir, in Bangladesh it also started against India's victory against Pakistan.
Sir, the Muslims were mocked
now
for their loss.
Look at these people.
Pakistan
Look at
lost.
what, sir,
of Pakistan
I understand.
in Leicester.
Okay.
It is once again
what led them to the temple? Why did they go to temples? Why did they go to a temple and destroy it? Why did they pull down a saffron flag?
Where did it spark
I'm asking you. I'm asking you. They only needed an excuse.
What business do these
Look at those pictures. Mr. Abdul Razak Khan. Mr. Abdul Razak Khan. Mr. Abdul Razak Khan, look at the pictures.
Residents
Why
of
are
United
Hindu
Kingdom,
temples being desecrated?
What business do they have chanting Jai Shri Ram against Muslims? Why do they mock Muslims by chanting Jai Shri Ram? Come on, you do that in your temple.
Mock Muslims. Okay, one second.
This is just unacceptable.
Viewers, 1 minute. There are enough religious slogans chanted on loudspeakers 7 times a day in some countries. Do Hindus barge into those mosques and destroy them? Do we have a right to do it? No, we don't. No one has a right to barge into someone. You might have a face-off. 1 minute, let me finish. Let me finish, Mr. Abdul Razak Khan, let me finish. The Pakistani, no, 1 second. The so-called Pakistani, you see, viewers, they will quickly change the goalpost. The same Pakistani by that yardstick, fans in UAE attacked Afghanistani fans. But did they walk into their mazars and desecrate them? No, they didn't. A clash, even over a cricket match, can be restricted. Viewers, to individuals clashing, you don't go to a temple. You don't pull down and desecrate and defile the symbols of another faith. That suggests something greater. Dr. Ranganathan, am I right or am I wrong here?
No, Rahul, first of all, I think it's terribly discriminatory and unacceptable for a panelist to say that chanting of Jai Shri Ram, where he's not talking about the person chanting Jai Shri Ram, is not talking about anyone else's God, is mocking the other religion. Can I ask Mr. Azhar, what does La ilaha illallah mean? What does La ilaha illallah mean? What does it mean? Tell me, you are a Muslim, what does it mean?
Sir, the respected member of parliament have chanted Jai Shri
Rahul, he
Ram
won't answer.
when
He
Owaisi
won't
was
answer the
about to
question.
take oath?
One
What
second.
are you
You know,
talking
this kind
So
of-
about?
does that
What are you
did
talking
Mr. Owaisi suddenly leap out of his skin and bash up people, or go next day to a temple and pull down a flag and burn it?
I am
Are
saying
you being
why-
ridiculous here?
I am saying,
I mean, have you
why
lost
do
your
want
mind?
To mock? Are you from? Now,
Have you
let
lost
me
your
tell you one
mind?
thing. Where did it start from is my question, Rahul.
I
Why
don't
do
know.
you mock?
I don't know.
What business
Because
do you have
I
with
don't
India
know,
and-
sir.
or
I don't know.
Pakistan?
All I
Where
know
did you
is
start?
that all I know, sir,
Because
is that
this
Hindus. Excuse me. All I know,
In the
sir.
name of religion,
Excuse me, sir.
hatred is
Are
being
we?
spread
Are
across
we?
the world.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Chanting Jai Shri
Are
Ram
we?
is hatred.
No, no. One second. One second. Forget that. Are we today infantile? If someone comes up to you and even says what they have to do, will you suddenly turn around and start beating them up? You will go to the police. You will file a complaint.
No, Rahul.
No,
No,
no.
Rahul.
I will end it
Tell
here
you.
because if you want to rationalize
me
violence,
tell you.
sir, you go.
But somebody
You go.
is
No, no. One
in
second.
intention to
You go
provoke.
and do it. I am
But
not going to allow you to
somebody
rationalize
comes
violence
with
on national
intention
TV.
to provoke.
He rationalized Kamlesh
Silent.
Tirupati's beheading, Rahul.
Of course I know. Of course I know. Of course I know. This is the mindset, viewers. And this mindset thinks it's okay because today Hindus in this country are thought to be subhuman. They're supposed to be the scum that sticks to the bottom of the earth because some people have linked you up on a daily basis with one particular kind of individual, a hate monger. It's as simple. They'll keep telling you, and unfortunately abroad, the repercussions are being felt. That's why, viewers, whether it's Bangladesh, or it is Pakistan, or it is Afghanistan, or it is America, or it is UK, or it is Canada, you're being targeted for being Hindus. I'll leave it at this.
The most pressing issues, the most informed minds, free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Shivshankar.
Former Punjab CM Captain Amarinder Singh has joined BJP and Captain also merged his party, Punjab Lok Congress, with the BJP. Prior to this, he met BJP National President JP Nadda in Delhi. Union Home Minister Amit Shah will attend the 18th formation day of the NDMA on September 28th. Congress Bharat Jodo Yatra has entered its 12th day. Rahul Gandhi along with his party leaders interacted with fishermen in Kerala's Alapura and took part in the snake boat race. ED questioned Karnataka Congress President D.K. Shivakumar in a money laundering case. He alleged that the summon by the ED is an attempt to stop him from attending the ongoing Bharat Jodo Yatra and the assembly sessions of the state. Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut's judicial custody has been extended by 14 days in the Patrachal scam case. The hearing in his bail plea will be held on September 21. Kerala Governor Arif Mohammed Khan took on the DLF government. The governor alleged that he was attacked and heckled by government officials in 2019.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can those in power misuse their office for personal gains and cronyism? Tonight on the Newshour, we get you a shocking case of alleged corruption and how children were cheated of their future. We get you damning details of how Aam Aadmi Party MLA and Delhi Waqf Board Chairman Amanatullah Khan allegedly abused his power. He is already behind bars for financial irregularities in management of the Waqf properties, that's the allegation, and on charges of favoritism in the appointments to the Delhi Waqf Board. He is in the custody of the Anti-Corruption Bureau. This new indictment once again reveals how the Aam Aadmi Party MLA continued to misuse his position and cheated children by snatching their right to education. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the special investigation by Times Now's investigation team has uncovered how a primary school in Delhi's Fatehpuri that was under the Waqf Board was demolished on the board's order. The school where children from class 1 to class 5 were meant to study was grabbed and bulldozed to make way for a shopping plaza. Not just that, but 11 shops were allegedly allotted to Aam Aadmi Party MLA Amanatullah Khan's aide and family relatives for 35 to 40 lakh rupees each as deposit and a monthly rental. Let's take a look at these investigations on candid camera.
फिर बोर्ड लगा दिया कि हम दिल्ली वक्फ पब्लिक स्कूल का बोर्ड लगा दिया। मतलब ये उन्होंने जनता को बेवकूफ बनाने का लगाया था। दिल्ली वक्फ पब्लिक स्कूल बोर्ड लगा दिया, 2 साल से बोर्ड लगा दिया। कब की बात है? 2 साल के अंदर की बात है। और दुकान जब बनी, दुकानें अभी बनी और ये वक्फ बोर्ड की ही दुकानें हैं अभी। नहीं तो ऐसा जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन में आया कि 3 वो क्या नाम है 35 लाख रुपया तक किराया है उनका। नहीं रुपये से बोल है सिक्योरिटी है, सिक्योरिटी का मालिक ही बन गया ये लोग। और प्राइमरी स्कूल था पहले, उनको तोड़कर फिर दुकान भाई वहाँ सगा भाई यहाँ पर है और इसका सीधा पैसा दिल्ली वक्फ बोर्ड को जाता है अमानतुल्लाह खान। और ये जो दुकानें इनको दी गई हैं ये क्या इनके करीबी हैं या फिर ये सब जो है किस तरीके से दी गई है? वहाँ करीबी समझो। अंदर आए कि पूरा खाली चल रही बस का किराया अंदर ही फतेहपुर से अच्छा वक्फ बोर्ड में जाता है। ये वक्फ बोर्ड की जगह है तो सरकार ने सील करी थी। सील ये जो अभी मौजूदा चेयरमैन है अमानतुल्लाह खान, हाँ इनके पीरियड में लगी थी। अच्छा उनकी पीरियड में भी लगी थी। फिर अमानतुल्लाह खान ने इसको दोबारा से खुलवाया है, दुकानों को नया बनना था। पहले प्राइमरी स्कूल था ना यहाँ पे, वही तो बताते हैं। हाँ।
Times Now spoke to the warden of the Fatehpuri school, who on camera has confirmed that due to the demolition, the students were forced to go and study in other schools. The demolition of the Delhi government affiliated school happened 2 years ago and the school came under the Delhi Waqf Board. Let's listen in to the warden of this school.
बच्चे कुछ कम हो गए, ठीक है, तो आप कहीं वो भी करनी पड़ती है, ठीक है, वो यार ऐसे आपको सरकारी जाती है। उसके बाद में मेरे ख्याल में 1.5 साल 2 साल हो गए। तो वो जो प्राइमरी स्कूल के बच्चे थे वो कहाँ चले गए? तो ये वक्फ बोर्ड का स्कूल है ना, दिल्ली वक्फ बोर्ड का, दिल्ली सरकार का स्कूल है ना, जैसे गवर्नमेंट एफिलिएटेड स्कूल है, गवर्नमेंट एफिलिएटेड स्कूल है, लेकिन वक्फ बोर्ड का
The BJP today tore into the Aam Aadmi Party, questioning the sanctity of its Delhi education model.
Well, this is a big scam you exposed, and it's clearly that they have shut a school to do a commercial activity. The education department, Mr. Sisotia's department, or Mr. Sisotia himself is also involved in this. So there's a collusion between Mr. Sisotia and Mr. Khan to make money out after shutting a school, after shutting a primary school. Mr. Kejriwal need to answer. He talks about his education model. This is the education model, that you are using these school property, the government school property, for your personal objectives. We'll hope that the LG will give an order for inquiry into it, and then let's get to the root of the subject and understand how come a individual or a Waqf board take over a running school.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as new charges of corruption and favoritism come to the fore against Kejriwal's MLA, you must listen in to this statement made by the Chief Minister of Delhi in 2019. which is available on the Aam Aadmi Party's Twitter handle itself, where he openly declared support of the Delhi government for the Waqf board, with Amanatullah Khan standing by his side. Listen in to Arvind Kejriwal.
जैसी हमारी सरकार बनी, अमानतुल्लाह साहब को हम लोगों ने वक्फ बोर्ड का चेयरमैन बनाया और इन्होंने जो काम करके दिखाया, एकदम से वक्फ बोर्ड की इनकम दुगनी तिगुनी इन्होंने करके दिखा दी महीने 2 महीने के अंदर। तब मैंने इनको कहा, मैंने कहा कि कोई भी जरूरत पड़े आपको, तन मन धन से केजरीवाल भी और दिल्ली सरकार भी पूरी तरह से वक्फ बोर्ड के साथ है। आने वाला समय ये होगा जब वक्फ बोर्ड के पास इतना पैसा होगा जिसकी कोई इंतहा नहीं होगी।
So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings me to the legitimate question on the Newshour tonight. Can the New York Times press gloss over this deceit in Fatehpuri school? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side. Delhi Waqf school grab. That's the hashtag and the debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining me tonight, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, National Spokesperson and Member of Parliament in the Rajya Sabha from the BJP. Ishkaran Bhandwari, Advocate in the Supreme Court. Also joining me tonight, Dr. Piyush Joshi, Political Analyst. Dr. Akashdeep Muni, Political Analyst. But my first question goes to Mr. Akhil Khan, Political Analyst and a man who's known to be close to Mr. Amanatullah Khan. Akhil Khan साहब, मेरा सवाल ये है कि जो चार्जेस हैं अमानतुल्लाह खान साहब के खिलाफ, वो अपनी जगह। द क्वेश्चन इज, एक स्कूल गिरा दिया जाता है और वहां दुकानें आ जाती हैं। आई वॉन्ट टू आस्क यू, डज द आम आदमी पार्टीज एजुकेशन मॉडल actually involve demolition of schools to bring in more shops and shopping malls? Is that how we will build the future of the children of this country?
Madam, first of all, in Delhi, you will find a school model of the country. Means you will find the only Delhi where you will get very good quality of school all over Delhi, and more than 4 lakhs students from private sectors shifted to government schools. Apart from that, Waqf board has its own properties, and they can do, they have got prerogative, they have got authority to do whatever they want to do with their schools. Apart from that, there are many schools constructed by Waqf board, and it has been made English medium. I have got a complete list of all the schools here. You can see very well, and you can check it in the net, that many schools has been converted into English, and they have been made very good quality schools in Delhi. So you cannot say one school which was old building, and the money which is received in Waqf board, you will find for so many years that Waqf board was earning very little amount out of that property of crores of rupees. Now when Amanatullah Khan has come and he has created good wealth for the people of Delhi, for the schools of Delhi. They have converted English medium schools, all old schools. They have made good infrastructure of the Waqf board schools also. So why you are putting finger only on one old building which was required to be demolished, and the money which is being earned from out of that building, those shops, is being utilized for the development of Delhi schools, and the Waqf board property has been increased many times, manifold. So this is, you cannot say that such a small point you are making.
अखिल खान साहब, आप मान रहे हैं
penny wise and pound foolish. This is the right.
आप मान रहे हैं कि वहां स्कूल गिराया गया, ये मान रहे हैं?
You see, it was a big building. It was a big building. You see, people are saying primary school was also there. But the big building was there. It was a very old building. It was required to be
so you made a new building.
revamped that building, that has been reconstructed for the benefit of the people of that area as well as for the benefit of the workforce.
So people of that area. Sudhanshu Trivedi ji.
Apart from that, those students has been shifted to the good schools, English medium schools. There is no such problem.
अकील खान साहब, मेरे सवालों का रैपिड फायर है. स्कूल था वहां प्राइमरी स्कूल जो गिराया गया, हाँ या ना?
देखिए, आई एम नॉट अवेयर ऑफ दैट, बट स्कूल वाज देयर.
नहीं था.
आई एम नॉट.
हमारे रिपोर्टर वहां गए हैं और वहां के वार्डन बता रहे हैं. वहां के वार्डन बता रहे हैं. वार्डन झूठ बोल रहे हैं.
यू सी,
वार्डन झूठ बोल रहे हैं.
नॉट कंफर्म अबाउट दिस.
अच्छा. और आप कह रहे हैं पुराना स्कूल था, उसे गिराया गया. पुरानी बिल्डिंग थी. नई दुकानें बनाई ना. नया स्कूल भी तो बना सकते थे. नया स्कूल भी तो बना सकते थे, हाँ या ना? स्कूल बना सकते थे ना. जब नई दुकानें बनाई,
आज स्कूल भी बना सकते थे, बट
आपने स्कूल नहीं बनाया, आपने दुकानें बनाई. दुकानों से 40 लाख रुपए डिपॉजिट लिया. 15-20 हजार आप आमदनी ले रहे हैं महीने की, और आप कह रहे हैं आपकी मर्जी, क्योंकि ये तो वक्फ बोर्ड है. हमारी मर्जी.
वक्फ बोर्ड has established many other schools, good schools,
very good,
converted into English medium schools, and they made very good infrastructure.
मैं भी समझ गए, व्यूअर्स भी समझ गए. सुधांशु त्रिवेदी, 1 minute.
These are the infrastructure school developed by वक्फ बोर्ड. These are वक्फ बोर्ड schools. There are many. You are after only one school, that was also not 100%.
मैं फतेहपुरी की बात कर रही हूँ. और डॉक्टर सुधांशु त्रिवेदी, ये फतेहपुरी का जो स्कूल था, ये दिल्ली बोर्ड से अफिलिएटेड था, दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट से अफिलिएटेड था, और ये वक्फ बोर्ड की लैंड पर था. अब they have demolished the school for the primary children between the ages of 5 and 10, and they have made shops. Maybe someday these shops will also sell liquor. We don't know. And they are justifying it that this land belongs to the Waqf board. It can do whatever it wants. I want to ask you, can anybody in this country have a clean conscience if they say that schools are being demolished and shops are being built in their land? Is this something that can be digested?
There are two things which are coming. Navika, there are two things are coming from Mr. Aqil Khan's logic. First, the Waqf board was established in order to protect the properties of the Muslim community, in order to sustain and propagate their religious right, which they project as there are minority rights which are need to be projected, and minority culture, precisely the Muslim culture, which is to be projected. But see, it's a very peculiar logic. Half a dozen times Mr. Aqil Khan has emphasized that the Waqf board is running English medium school. If it is the English medium school, then what is the difference between the Waqf school and the convent school? Then why you are taking the Waqf property? Then your basic premise of a Waqf school is demolished because you want to say that's an English medium school. Okay. That's also a positive thing, no problem. But by your logic, any school is a charitable institution, and making shop is a commercial activity. And if any charitable institution or the property is allowed even partially to be used in commercial, then by your logic, जितने प्राइम लोकेशन में बड़े बड़े स्कूल्स है दिल्ली में, उनके एक साइड में भी शॉप खोलने की परमिशन दे दी जाए तो सब करोड़ों रुपए कमा लेंगे और वो तो बड़े सेल्फ सफिशिएंट हो जाएंगे. What type of logic this is? You are trying to intermingle the charitable institution and the profitable institution. The commercial and the charitable activities are so much mixed. It's not possible. Because these are like the hospitals, the schools, and these type of things are come under charitable institutions, and the cost of the land is not being taken on the commercial basis by the government, and so it is incumbent on any institution, whether it's Waqf board or other. किसी ट्रस्ट का स्कूल होता है तो साहब उसको लैंड जो है उस कमर्शियल रेट पे नहीं मिलती है जिस कमर्शियल रेट पे शॉप खोलने के लिए मिलती है. इट इज क्लियर कट वायलेशन ऑफ द रूल एंड क्लियर कट एग्जांपल ऑफ द करप्शन एंड मिस यूज ऑफ द रूल. देयर इज नथिंग इफ एंड बट अबाउट इट. इसमें कोई ग्रे का स्कोप ही नहीं है. क्लियर कट ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट केस है. चैरिटेबल लैंड हैज बीन यूज्ड. by usurping the authority and flouting the law for the commercial activity. बस इसमें तो बिल्कुल simple case है.
So I want to ask Dr. Piyush Joshi. Dr. Piyush Joshi, I'm not questioning the rights of anybody to own land in this state. I'm only questioning, should a Waqf board land which had a primary school be demolished to build shops on it, and then we hail the education policy? Because in this case, it's not just the Waqf board that is involved. This school was also affiliated to the Delhi government. My question is, a government that actually says that it is got the best education policy and showcases the best schools in the state, today is demolishing schools to make shops on that land. Is that the model of education that we want to promote in Delhi?
Just a quick 30 seconds to 45 seconds answer that I'll produce before you. The education model is for everyone to see. The obvious does not need any proof. It's very clear when more than 1,000 students qualify JEE and NEET, and even a shopkeeper's, even a laborer's son is getting the same rank as the Chief Minister of Delhi. It is something to be proud about. And another thing is whether this Waqf board school has been demolished and shops have been constructed, or was it a reorganization of the infrastructure? So we don't know about that. It is alleged. It is still alleged, and it is to be proven in the court of law. About the reorganization of schools, I come from the state of MP. 20,000 schools have been shut by the government of Madhya Pradesh in the name of merger. More than 6,000 schools have been shut in the state of Gujarat. We don't talk about that. We are talking about reorganization of one school where students have been shifted to some other school with better infrastructure, better facilities. However, one point which the respected Trivedi ji made, and that still needs to be seen, that is about the charitable activity of the land. 100 meters from where I live, there are 3 charitable institutions who have been given lands since last 50 years and are running shops in the city of Indore. Nobody has questioned that. Well, but 2 wrongs do not make a right. Again, I am saying that. But why the Delhi education model is being praised, that is what I am trying to tell you. There's a entrepreneurship curriculum which is running. 52,000 teams are working on entrepreneurial
I'll read
mindset.
the brochure, Dr. Joshi. I'll read the brochure
that is
for
the
that.
education model.
I'll read the brochure for that. But I want to ask you a question about the Fatehpuri school. I want to ask you. The Fatehpuri school has been demolished, shops built in its place, and there is the warden of the school who on candid camera says सब रिश्तेदारों और दोस्तों को दिए गए हैं. Number 1.
Madam, we should think in a right perspective, in the national perspective, not isolated case, please.
Then why don't you think in the right direction when allegation? 1 minute. मैं बोल तो लूं, सवाल तो पूछ लूं. सवाल ये है कि आप भी राइट डायरेक्शन में सोचिए. अगर एसीबी या ईडी या सीबीआई इन्वेस्टिगेशन करती है तो उनके पास कोई ना कोई एफआईआर है, कोई ना कोई कंप्लेंट है, वो कर रही है. इसको भी आप राइट स्पिरिट में ले लीजिए.
Again, I tell you,
स्पिरिट में क्यों लेते हैं?
Pennywise pound foolish. This is the right dictum used here. Pennywise means you are just making a small issue, the big one, and those big issues where people has been benefited by those infrastructure schools and everything, and results showing that in JEA and NIT, all they have performed exceptionally well. You must think about that.
ईश्वरन भंडारी 5 से 10 साल के बच्चों का स्कूल गिरा दिया गया. ये छोटा मुद्दा है. इस पर हमें बात नहीं करनी चाहिए. हमारी गलती ये है कि हम ये छोटा मुद्दा डिस्कस कर रहे हैं. ईश्वरन भंडारी इज द नेम ऑफ Bhandari is the name of the advocate who has been asked the question. Please listen to him responding. Yes.
There are sweeping powers under the Waqf Act, but as of now the powers don't extend to hijacking my name. So please let me answer when my name is taken. That's my only request from you. Now let us come to this. Navika ji, 25 minutes into the debate, a point blank question: was there a school running there? And was that school demolished? Mr. Akil Khan went around the country, praised the English language, but did not want to answer that simple factual question that yes, a primary school was running or a primary school was not running. And we know the answer to that. Now let me come to the second point of it. When you destroy, when you break down a school and you let it out for commercial purposes, you are hampering the education of the children, as well as children are used to going to a particular place, a particular locality, you are shifting them from there. Second aspect of it, if commercial activity was being done there and shops were being let out there, were the shops let out on commercial considerations or were they given to their friends and their supporters? That has to be seen and we have to see that. And the third aspect, which is more important, New York Times may praise any article where any party is rising in opposition to the government run by BJP. That is very good. But the fact check which comes in, how many new schools were made, and the fact check which comes in when Mr. Satinder Jain gets arrested on 30th May, multiple court hearings, multiple bail applications, but does not get a relief from the court, where you are admittedly destroying schools and building it into commercial activities. Of course you will get raid. You break schools, you break government schools in the heart of Delhi. Properties are priceless. You will get hundreds of crores at rent. But we do not do that because the education of children is of prime importance. Otherwise, if you unlock the value of land by destroying schools, every school in Delhi will give you hundreds of crores of rental. The purpose is different. The government purpose is different. The work purpose is different. And if this is being defended, that breakdown of schools and conversion into commercial shops is upheld, is decided to be supported, then I as a citizen feel extremely sad that you talk about education model.
I will answer this. First of all, Waqf board is established for the people of a minority community, and there are many there are many properties donated by the Muslims for the welfare of the Muslim communities. So you cannot say that this is a totally government properties. Apart from that, I have already told that I don't know what were the exact status of that primary school when the demolition was done, but if you say that, okay, I agree, if I accept that point, even then those schools, those students studying in those schools has been shifted to a better school, better facilities. They are happy. They are happy. They have no problem with that.
Case for all schools on Waqf land to be demolished so that all of them can study in regular schools.
You cannot generalize like this. You cannot generalize like this. It's an isolated case.
Why?
And most importantly, the money earned by the Waqf board is being used for the welfare of the Muslims, for the welfare of the schools, for the welfare of other facilities. This is there.
छोटे बच्चों को मत पढ़ाओ, पैसा कमाओ in the name of welfare of the community. Ishkaran Bhandari.
Thank you. Firstly, two simple points. Mr. Khan, you are coming on a national television debate. It is the least one expects is you will prepare and know factually whether the school was destroyed or not destroyed. So please don't go around in circles. The nation can judge when you try to avoid an answer. The second aspect, you are saying the school. Let me answer now. Second, when you are saying that the school was not being done in proper manner, so then you are admitting that certain schools under Waqf Act are not being done in proper manner. You know that the school. 1 second, let me complete now. At 1 second, you say you don't know whether the school was broken, but on the other hand, you say that the school was not being run in a proper manner. That is why it was broken. How can
that was Purani building, but I don't know whether the school was in any condition there. I don't know.
पुरानी बिल्डिंग गिर गई, वहाँ दुकानें हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं.
So what? So whatever the condition, okay, agreed. I agree with you. But what is the problem if Waqf board is earning money and then they are using that money for the benefit of the other schools, which is for the community, for the benefit of the community.
They are earning money for other schools. Sudhanshu Trivedi,
they are not pocketing the money.
Truth is being shifted minute by minute. एक बार कहते हैं हमें पता नहीं वहां क्या हालत है, एक बार कहते हैं वहां पुरानी बिल्डिंग थी, अगर दुकान बन गई तो क्या हुआ. अब दुकानें दिखा रहे हैं, वहां से पैसे कमाई जा रहे हैं, तो वो कह रहे हैं कि अरे कोई बात नहीं, यहाँ गिर गई, यहाँ की कमाई कहीं और जा रही है. फिर बीच में ये एक मिनट, बीच में ये भी कहा कि ये स्कूल सही नहीं था, अच्छे स्कूल में चले गए.
Nothing is illegal.
Have you
Nothing is illegal. Done everything is done in the right manner.
I am not even getting getting into the legality, my friend. I'm getting into the morality of
Morality,
demolishing
even 4 lakh students shifted from the private to
Sudhanshu
government
Trivedi.
school. They have got a very good opportunity to study in a better environment.
Better environment.
Yes,
Achha, very good. Dr. Sudhanshu
if they are according to
Trivedi,
you.
1 minute. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, have you ever heard so many versions of the truth in 20 minutes?
What was it?
One thing is very clear, that Mr. Aqil Khan is not categorically answering that it was demolished or not. Second thing I want to correct his statement, Waqf Board Act is not for minorities, it is only for the Muslims. And it is a very exclusive privilege given to the Muslim community. And if you are saying that there is a legality issue which gives you the protective right, I think this type of right that you on your whims and fancies, if it is there to change the use of the property on your own without the permission of the government, I think even no Muslim country in the world is giving such type of authority to any community. But
do you have proof that it is against the government?
Let me complete the sentence, sir. That's why I am coming to second sentence. If you have applied and government has given proper consideration of changing the charitable land into a commercial land, then you should have given a proper paper for that. That the land which was charitable and the Waqf had paid the commercial price of the land and now it is a commercial land. इसमें कौन सी प्रॉब्लम की बात थी भाई? चैरिटेबल थी, हमने कमर्शियल उसका रेट पे किया, अब हम उसका कमर्शियल यूज कर रहे हैं। पर अगर लैंड चैरिटेबल है और कमर्शियल यूज कर रहे हैं, इससे एक लाइन और क्लियर हो गई। नाविका जी, एक लाइन और क्लियर हो गई जी। ये स्कूल बैग में जो शराब की बोतल छुपा रहे थे, उस स्कूल बैग की भी हैसियत असलियत दिख गई। ये बहुत बार बार कहते थे ना एक्साइज पॉलिसी के बारे में, नहीं हमने बड़ा अच्छा स्कूल मॉडल किया है, तो स्कूल के बस्ते में शराब छुपाने वालों का बस्ता भी
what BJP is doing all over India, what BJP doing in Gujarat, they are killing the people there. You are just beating about the bush, only a small thing which is not correct, and CBI has already inquired about this and they have come out
the bush
with the decision that there is nothing against Manish Sisodia. Nothing. Till now there is nothing. And you are not seeing about your Gujarat model where hundreds of persons were dying and 10,000 crore is being under corruption. They are earning out of that. This number two people of BJP. So why you are beating about the bush? Only a small issue which is not proved by you. And CBI also not telling about anything. Only media by BJP.
Navika ji, I just want to ask only one sentence.
Yes, please go ahead.
अकील खान जी, आपने एक्साइज पॉलिसी पे आ गए शराब की बात पे, हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं वक्फ पे। वक्फ इज फॉर द मुस्लिम रिलीजियस पर्पस। अब एक बात आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं, मुस्लिम रिलीजियस मान्यता के अनुसार शराब पीना कुफ्र है कि नहीं? शराब पीने पे कोड़े पड़ने चाहिए कि नहीं? बोलिए।
कुफ्र है।
अरे वक्त के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव कहां शराब की बात
गलत है, बिल्कुल गलत है,
गैर इस्लामिक नहीं हो सकता।
अकॉर्डिंग टू
आपको आके अपोज करना चाहिए।
अकॉर्डिंग टू शरीयत लॉ इट्स नॉट राइट, इट्स नॉट राइट, इट्स नॉट राइट।
आपको तो कहना चाहिए भाई,
नॉट राइट,
मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड में ऐड किया जाना चाहिए।
वी आर लिविंग इन इंडिया,
मुस्लिम हो उसको
वी आर लिविंग इन इंडिया वेयर मेनी अदर रिलीजन्स आर देयर।
लिविंग इन इंडिया बट ट्राइंग टू हैव द प्रिविलेज।
वी आर नॉट टेलिंग दैट
यहां पर वक्त चाहिए।
We are not telling that Muslims should drink.
गजब का तर्क है भाई।
भी चाहिए, एक्साइज पॉलिसी भी ठीक है, वक्त भी चाहिए,
जहां पे हमको फाइनेंशियल फायदा है वहां मुझे इस्लामिक लॉ चाहिए।
If you are telling
और जहां फाइनेंशियल फायदा वहां एंटी इस्लामिक लॉ चाहिए।
I will have to defend him. I am not telling you that people should drink. I am not telling this thing, and I am not accepting that.
1+1 सही थी, गलत थी?
तो सर आपको तो आउट
now I will tell you 1+1 you are telling this policy was giving 3,500 crore rupees profit to Delhi government, Delhi exchequer, which is being going for the last several years into the pockets of those Congress and BJP people and the government.
One thing is clear, Aqil Khan Saab,
I have already discussed.
Profit. stands for profit, excise
Yes.
policy से
Akil
profit
Khan
बने,
साहब,
वो
don't
भी
generalize.
ठीक है, स्कूल गिरा
Don't generalize those
स्कूल
things.
गिराकर
Don't, please don't
दुकानें
generalize the thing. I am not
बनाती
telling that.
जाएं और उससे
I am not
profit
telling.
बने,
You are
वो
mixing
भी
the issues.
ठीक है। अकील खान
You are
साहब,
mixing the
मुझे-
issues.
मुझे
Madam,
profit समझ
you
में आ
are
गया,
mixing the
मुझे आपका
issues.
प्रॉफिट
You
समझ
are
में आ गया।
mixing the
आकाशदीप
issues.
मुनि, आकाशदीप मुनि,
You are mixing the issues.
Akashdeep Muni ji, I only want to ask you a small question. The question is that we are talking about the future of children in the age group of 5 to 10 years. And these children have a right to education under the fundamental rights as has been cleared by the UPA government in 2009. Now every child has a right to that education. Is it right, and I'm not talking about corruption here alone, I'm talking about, is it right to demolish schools and instead of building a new school, we are building shops over there for commercial considerations? I want to ask you, is it right? Is this a representation of the education model? And apart from this, you know, we've seen there are some schools which are even operating out of porta cabins in the summer heat of 45 degrees. And I'll show you those pictures.
MCD school.
They are running out of
MCD
they
run
are
by
running,
BJP.
running out of, these are not
Definitely.
MCD schools, my friend, these are Delhi government schools.
You
Please
must
allow.
talk about MCD. 90% MCD schools are in
अरे
a
भाई MCD तो
very
claim
bad
नहीं कर रहा ना, MCD तो claim नहीं कर रहा न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में।
First and foremost,
मुनी साहब,
must take
मुनी
first and
साहब,
foremost, Navika ji, first and foremost, I want to tell my senior friend Sudhanshu Trivedi ji that what is happening in Goa related to liquor, we all know what is the condition of liquor, and that they are very much worried about liquor in Delhi. Check Goa, first part. Second, upon education. Education, you have to understand the process. There is a school which has been affiliated to Delhi board that can be raised down, and another place the school can be made. There has been, is there a due process followed or not? Of course the due process has been followed when the school was raised down, and then it might be shifted to as a shop or something else like that. The most important thing is that the condition of education in this country has been in shambles, and Delhi has proven to be a brilliant case in that. Specifically, this particular case of one small school being raised out, you see the tens of others, thousands of others created in smart schools with all the amenities like music, water supply, swimming, and all the amenities specifically. You know, the schooling system has been brilliant in Delhi only, and in comparison to throughout the whole of the country, which has been emulated in Punjab as well, especially the Mohalla clinics and the schools. And specifically, I want to tell it to BJP. You know, BJP is like a rubble of झूठ. तो झूठ का पहाड़ है, जैसे ओखला में है ना झूठ का पहाड़, वैसे ही वो झूठ, आज एक झूठ बोलेंगे, कल हम उस झूठ को आके गलत साबित कर देंगे, कल को आप और एक झूठ बोलेंगे। लिकर स्कैम के बारे में आपने बताया, मैं आपके चैनल पे
मैं लिकर स्कैम की बात ही नहीं कर रही मुनी साहब। I'm not talking about the liquor scam.
I'm just giving an example.
No, don't give me an example. I'm asking today about one school. I'm asking about the school and the morality of demolishing schools to build shops. I'm only asking about that.
Then why you allowed Mr. Sudhanshu to talk about liquor?
With all respect, have you seen the condition of MCD schools? Have you seen the condition of MCD schools? There are boards outside the MCD schools.
I will direct your question and your anger towards Mr. Sudhanshu Trivedi to answer that question. First answer my part of the question, and then I will direct your question to Sudhanshu ji. I am asking you, Fatehpuri school being demolished and shops being open, is that okay? Is that okay with you?
If tens of schools, other places are developed, if the students are given proper succor regarding the same academic
so you are saying
then
the workforce schools are not the proper model,
and this I am not saying,
and the Delhi government affiliated school is being demolished to make place for shops. That's an okay model to follow, yes or no? simple question. आप लोग घुमा क्यों रहे हैं मुझे?
It's not a simple question.
It's
You are
not a
making
simple question. It's not a simple question.
No.
It's not a simple
You must see that in a greater
question.
perspective.
Finally, he admits it's not a simple question. Ishkaran Bhandari, it's not a simple question, and I'm going to Sudhanshu Trivedi. Ishkaran Bhandari respond.
10 seconds. Since on this debate, Mr. Khan has been emphatic that the school was not good, so it was demolished. My simple question: UP government,
बेहतर स्कूलों में चले गए
one
बच्चे
second,
But I'm not.
but the school साफ ठीक नहीं था, बिल्डिंग खराब थी, इसलिए किया गया. पूरी डिबेट तो यही बोलते रहे. But anyways, 10 seconds. So there is a government in Uttar Pradesh which says madrasa survey should be done to see if the buildings are fit, to see if there is drinking water, to see if there are toilets. So do you support the UP government's decision to do a survey of madrasa? Because admittedly there are enough which are not in a fit and a working condition. I am very happy that if this is the AAP's official stand that they support surveys of madrasa,
You are talking
if
about
they
UP.
support
You are talking about UP.
in
As a Muslim,
in Uttar
as a
Pradesh,
Muslim,
and across the
I will
country,
say there
I am
should be
very happy.
1,000 madrasas.
I am very happy.
Should
I
be
am very happy
investigated. Certainly.
I am very happy that you believe surveys of all
For the benefit of the people.
Let me get in Sudhanshu Trivedi ji. Sudhanshu Trivedi ji, here is, three people who support the Aam Aadmi Party, not one of them is giving a clear-cut answer on the Fatehpuri school. And the Fatehpuri school came to light only because Amanatullah Khan has been arrested and some, allegations have been made against him which are still being investigated. No answer on the Fatehpuri school that we have investigated. On the other hand, you heard in January 2019, Amanatullah Khan and Arvind Kejriwal standing together and offering tan man dhan se support to the Waqf board. I want to ask you, Sudhanshu Trivedi ji, if tan man dhan se support hai Waqf board ko, तो क्या दिल्ली सरकार पर मॉरल ऑब्लिगेशन नहीं है इस बात का जवाब देने के लिए कि ये स्कूल क्यों गिराया गया और यहां दुकानें क्यों बनाई गई?
देखिए, आकाश मुनि जी has tried to give a logic. If it is presumed to be correct that the government has given permission, the Delhi government has decided to demolish the school and put up the shops, so this exposes their real attachment and affection towards the upliftment of the education policy. Second thing, on the basis of their famous New York Times projection, तो जो कह रहे थे अकील खान साहब कि 4 लाख लोगों ने प्राइवेट स्कूल से अपने बच्चों को सरकारी स्कूल में शिफ्ट कर लिया, तो मैं 4 लाख नहीं, सिर्फ 40 ऐसे बच्चे बताइए जो क्लास 1 गजेटेड ऑफिसर और एमएलएज या मिनिस्टर्स के परिवार के बच्चे हों जिनको उन्होंने प्राइवेट स्कूल से इसमें शिफ्ट कर दिया हो. अगर आप 4 लाख में 40 ये नहीं बता सकते, तो योर एंटायर क्लेम कम्स अंडर द सस्पेंशन. एंड सेकंड थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू से, as far as your entire policy is concerned, झूठ की बात करते हैं आप, तो भाई झूठ तो लगातार एक के बाद खुद ही आम आदमी पार्टी का चेंज होता चला जा रहा है. In the last 2 months or so, on each and every aspect, at one point or the other, Aam Aadmi Party has tried to change the stand on one aspect than the other aspect. तो कौन किससे झूठ बोल रहा है?
There is no logic. There is no logic of the argument.
Entire country, इसमें कोई if and but की बात ही नहीं.
40 names.
और लास्ट में मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं, एक लाइन, वक्फ बोर्ड को बेहिसाब पैसा देने की बात करने वाले केजरीवाल जी ने मौलवियों की तनख्वाह डबल की है. और इतना ही नहीं, मुअज्जिम जो कि अजान लगाते हैं उनकी भी तनख्वाह डबल की है. वो पैसा देने का था, मगर स्कूल को चलाने के लिए पैसा नहीं था वक्फ बोर्ड के पास.
सबसे बड़ा
मौलवियों की सैलरी बढ़ाने का पैसा था,
केजरीवाल
स्कूल चलाने का पैसा नहीं था.
With the waqf board authorities, you see, first of all, he is not interfering personally, cannot do it. Most important thing is that waqf board is earning, has started earning over the last 7 years more than 50 times the earning which they were earning earlier, and this amount is being given to the welfare of the Muslims. This is for the Muslim, and there are much amount has been injected in the schooling of the Muslims,
children who should have been studying in that
and
school.
That's why
also
the money,
possibly children of Muslims who would have gone to that school in Fatehpur.
They were earning money out of the waqf board.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the simple question was, why did Muslim children not gain from being educated in this primary school in Fatehpuri? Why did they have to go to other schools? Why were shops opened in this area? That's the question. Well, we leave it at that as I thank my panelists on debate number 1. On the other side, over 100 crore rupees has been recovered by the Enforcement Directorate from Partha Chatterjee and his aide Arpita Mukherjee. But ironically, instead of going after the corrupt, the Trinamool Congress Sarkar is going after the investigative agencies. That's right, today Mamata Banerjee and her MLAs passed a resolution against the CBI and the ED, accusing the agencies of selectively targeting her party and creating an atmosphere of fear. The resolution states that central agencies go soft on corrupt BJP leaders and that the Trinamool Congress netas are targeted. Let's listen in to the TMC going after probe agencies and shunning probity.
No, it is a wrong perception. We are not against the investigation by the central agency. I personally still believe that the best officers of the countries are there in the ED and CBI. But unfortunately, they were not given the chance for a proper investigation. Otherwise, the Nirav Modi could have not left the country.
Well, the BJP has come out and slammed the resolution against central agencies, calling it a bid to block probe against TMC netas. Listen in.
ওই জন্যই তো রেজুলেশন এনেছিল চোরেদের পার্টি তৃণমূল। আমরা ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি তৃণমূল কংগ্রেসকে, বুদ্ধিভ্রষ্ট হয়েছে। এই মুলতবি প্রস্তাবটা আমরা আনতে গেছিলাম বৃহস্পতিবার, আমাদের আনতে দেয়নি। আজকে সারাদিন চোরেদের প্রোটেক্টর কারা আর চোরেদের বিরোধী কারা এটা পশ্চিমবাংলার লোক দেখলো। 189 জন চোরেদের পক্ষে এমএলএ আর 64 জন এমএলএ চোরেদের বিরুদ্ধে।
On the other hand, Times Now even brought out the charge sheet that has been filed against Shiv Sena Member of Parliament Sanjay Raut, where a charge of 1,034 crore of money has been misused and gone to the family and friends of Sanjay Raut as alleged in the charge sheet, including dealings with Vadhavans known for the PMC scams, the bank that had the deposits of many ordinary Indians. So another resolution can be passed by opposition parties just because there is a probe against them? That's the question we are asking. And joining me on debate number 2 along with Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi and Ishkaran Bhandari is Intikhab Farooqi, leader of the Shiv Sena. But my first question goes to Riju Datta, national spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress. Riju Datta, now a resolution ke pahadon ke paise mile, you can get 100 crore worth of note bundles, but no investigation should take place. How nice is this kind of a resolution? Because everything is political.
No,
and it will be political season. Either you would have just crossed an election or another election must be coming, because that's the way India has seen elections go and come. So there is no resolution should be passed, and we should just dump corruption as a given in the Indian politics. Is that the way you want this country to function?
Navika ji, first of all, this is a very wrong narrative that has been set by the BJP and that is running across media channels. The crux of the matter is Trinamool Congress is all up for investigation. Trinamool Congress wants all the corrupted people to go behind bars, no issues. But the pertinent questions here is the central agencies or are the central agencies acting under bias? The question is yes, and that is proven to the people of this country. Are the central agencies being used to topple people elected governments in various states like Maharashtra, Goa, Punjab and everywhere else? All these Operation Lotus is going on. We saved Jharkhand, Bengal police saved Jharkhand, Jharkhand would have toppled. So that is the second point. Third point is has the judiciary time and time again rebuked the central agencies because of their bias? Yes, it has been done in the past in the Congress era. Caged parrot, it has been done now. And the fourth most pertinent point here is the central agencies are supposed to, keyword, investigation, do their investigation, submit it to the court of law, and the court of law should predict the judgment. But somehow they are supplying their information to media channels who are running it as sources. And again, the past Supreme Court Chief Justice has said that because of this there is a kangaroo court and media trials going on. So all in all, the central agencies have created a fear, trying where the BJP cannot fight you democratically or politically, they are using central agencies to topple governments or
Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Riju Datta only remembers partial truth. He doesn't remember any observations made by the Supreme Court judges which say that the media cannot be fettered and they should report on everything. Those observations of course escape his attention, but the question that he says, they are all for investigations, but they think that these investigations are slanted against the opposition parties. Respond.
It's not the issue of the partial truth, it is the visible truth. The currency notes which has been recovered from Partha Chatterjee and his associates are visible in front of the nation. There is no if and but about it. And I want to say that the Trinamool Congress leader Mamata Banerjee, despite our starking differences with her entire journey of the political career was considered to be you can say a journey in which a simple living and high thinking. मगर ये क्या हो गया भाई? ममता जी को समझना चाहिए कि उनकी सफेद साड़ी के साये में तृणमूल कांग्रेस में क्या क्या काला काम हो रहा है, और या तो ममता जी का कंट्रोल ही खत्म हो गया है और या फिर उनकी भी शय है। और जिस ढंग का ममता जी का अभी तक का कैरियर रहा है, कम से कम वो इस मामले में तो ईमानदार मानी जाती हैं। फिर क्यों पार्थ चटर्जी जैसे लोगों के यहां से डायरी भी मिली, पैसा भी मिला, कनेक्शन भी मिला, और उसके बाद आकर हमारे रिजू दत्ता जी जैसे लोग आकर डिफेंड करते हैं, तो यह दर्शाता है कि एवरीथिंग हैज गॉन आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल। इवन द चीफ मिनिस्टर ऑफ बंगाल इज ऑल्सो नॉट हैविंग कंट्रोल ओवर द सिचुएशन। एंड एज फॉर एज कोऑपरेशन विद द एजेंसीज आर कंसर्न, हाउ वी कैन फॉरगेट द थिंग कि जब सीबीआई वाले कोलकाता पुलिस कमिश्नर से केवल पूछताछ करने के लिए आए थे, ममता जी बिकम द ओनली चीफ मिनिस्टर इन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ द कंट्री हु सैट ऑन द धरना कि आप क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछ सकते सेंट्रल एजेंसी से। एंड शी इज द ओनली चीफ मिनिस्टर हु हैज ओपनली सेड कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर कॉल किए, मैंने कॉल नहीं लिया। देन हाउ यू कैन वर्क इन द व्हेन यू हैव टेकन ओथ ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन? सो आई थिंक तृणमूल कांग्रेस शुड थिंक ओवर इट कि आप किस तरफ जा रहे हैं, और देश हर चीज देखता है और मौका पड़ने पे सारी की सारी चीजें दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होती चली जा रही हैं। इसमें कोई इफ एंड बट नहीं रह गया।
Riju Datta, 30 second rebut.
Navika ji, 10 seconds. Oh, thank you so much for 30 seconds. First of all, Sudhanshu ji, I respect him as a member of parliament, and I want to ask you that when you have missed a point that the central agencies are working in Bengal under court order. So the same High Court of Calcutta also ordered the central agencies for the Naroda and Sharoda scam for their probe. Now the person who is mentioned in the ED CBI charge sheet in the Naroda Sharoda scam is your leader of opposition Shubhendu Adhikari, but every 2 days in a week he is going and having a cup of tea with the Honorable Home Minister of India. How do you justify that?
Well, you have a short memory, Riju Datta. Can I take out all the statements made by the Trinamool Congress when the issues against your leader of opposition of the BJP were made, Mr. Adhikari? You were the ones who came out and said कि he is the cleanest man, he has nothing, these are false charges. Today, because he is in the BJP and having tea with Amit Shah ji, you have a problem.
शारदा कोई स्कैम था ही नहीं।
Can I finish? Navika ji, can I finish?
No,
Navika ji, can I
let me,
If they gain their stand, then I am
is
ready
it
to
not
respond to
true that
Vijay Datta.
respond Sudhanshu ji.
Can I finish, please?
I'm just saying
Can I
one
finish
thing.
my statement?
The official stand of Trinamool Congress that na Narda koi scam hai na Charda koi scam hai. So if you do not consider it a scam, then why you are putting question? If you accept that now you consider it as a scam, तो अपनी गवर्नमेंट पे एक्शन क्यों नहीं ले रहे हैं? Then I am ready to answer. First you made very clear.
अच्छा
स्कैम मानते हैं या नहीं?
Very good.
Then I am liable to answer.
सुधांशु जी मेरे को आपको सुधांशु जी आप इस पे छोड़िए, फिर दो और पॉइंट में आंसर दीजिए ना। आप लोगों ने
नहीं ये क्यों छोड़िए भाई, इसमें तो आप फंस गए।
आपके
नारदा शारदा स्कैम है कि नहीं है?
तो नाविका जी, अरे नहीं फंसे नहीं है नाविका जी, आप मुझे बोलने नहीं दे रहे। नाविका जी आप मुझे बोलने नहीं दे रहे हैं।
दलदल है जिसमें आप फंस गए हैं, मैं क्या बोलने नहीं दूंगी, आप निकल नहीं पा रहे हैं दलदल से।
उसमें सबसे बड़ा, मैं तो बोल रहा हूं सबसे बड़ा, मैं तो बोल रहा हूं सबसे बड़ा स्कैम है, उसका सबसे बड़ा अक्यूज्ड है शुभेंदु अधिकारी। द प्राइमरी अक्यूज सुदीप्तो सेन हैज रिटन अ लेटर टू द चीफ जस्टिस दैट शुभेंदु अधिकारी हैज टेकन 6 crores फ्रॉम मी, येट ही इज नॉट इवन फॉरगेट कस्टडी, ही इज नॉट इवन गोइंग थ्रू इंक्वायरी बाय द
ईश्वरन भंडारी does Riju Datta have a point?
Same for Shivraj Singh Chauhan.
One minute.
Let us start by a very simple thing. No accused has the right to decide who will be the investigative agency. No accused has the right to decide which court will hear the matter. If you believe that 100 crores being found in cash does not require investigation, then I am sorry, that is not in line with either the constitutional principles or the law of the land. And secondly, you have the state intelligence, you don't like the CBI, you don't like the ED. How was a 100 crore scam going on without the state police investigative agencies being able to prevent it? How were the orders being passed in which benefits were being given without the political leaders getting to know about it? All that if you had done, you would not have required a CBI ED investigation, because those piles of cash cannot be wished away.
Well, exactly the point, and those piles of cash were also found after the district court directed the police to register the FIR, after which the ED came in and the local police did not register an FIR but did not investigate anything. You know, think about that, Riju Datta. But Intikhab Farooqi, now Sanjay Raut, he used to say that he is being targeted only because the BJP is jealous of the Maharashtra government. Now courts haven't given him bail so far, and the charge sheet has been filed, and the charge sheet says that he was part of several meetings where a decision on a sub judice land was taken. Not only that, 1,000 crore plus was the value of the scam that took place in association with the Vadhavans, and this was land meant for poor people and their housing. अब आप भी एक रेजोल्यूशन पास कर दीजिए कि भाई सवाल नहीं पूछना चाहिए, करप्शन इज आवर बर्थ राइट.
Navika ji, we respect the honorable court and the judges and their decisions, but yes, at the same time we cannot be judgmental unless and until the accused is proven guilty, you know. And at the same time I just feel I have a question mark. We are not here to blame on someone, but yes, there is a question mark when people like Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, you know, they run away with so much of thousands of crores of rupees, and you know, no inquiries are, you know, being held on them. We are not trying to bring them back. There should be questions and you know, should come up on this, that you know, it's people's money, and at the same time I just feel that we have to wait and watch. Till now he has not been proven guilty, because again and again we have been seeing on televisions in all the channels that his own brother, he said that many times we have questions to Mr. Sanjay Raut regarding the Patra Chaul case,
Sudhanshu
but he has denied he has nothing to do with the case.
Their point is Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi are not being questioned.
I think Mr. Intikhab Farooqi is not recollecting the present state of affair. Our government has tried its fullest strength to ensure that Vijay Mallya is taken to the task. His properties in India has been confiscated. They have been attached to the government, and a certain amount has been taken, and we tried even the US court that he is facing trial in the US court, and some adverse
Why are we not trying to bring them back here?
But he is trying to take an alibi of the UK court, and he tried to take an alibi of the UK law. But sir, I want to just one answer. हमारी गवर्नमेंट आने से पहले 2014 में विजय माल्या has officially written a thanks letter to then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh that State Bank of India has rejected his loan, but after the recommendation of the Prime Minister, the loan has been sanctioned. This was the status. Forget about the case, not even a single letter was issued. वो तो हमारी गवर्नमेंट नहीं आई होती तो वो भागना छोड़िए, जलाल से रह रहे होते।
Why we are
गवर्नमेंट का पूरा
Well, ladies and gentlemen, a resolution to stop investigations, is that the way politics is going to be played in this country? Are investigations subject to political consensus, and is corruption something that we as Indian citizens need to take for a given? Because there are political parties who are now questioning why investigations should take place even after mounds of cash have been recovered from ministers and their associates in Bengal. I want to ask, forget legality, morality and propriety seem to be completely dead and defunct in Indian democracy. We leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining me on the Newshour tonight. Good night, viewers. Be safe.
You were watching the Newshour at 9. Stay tuned. The Newshour at 9. You were watching the Newshour at 9. Stay tuned.
The most pressing issue, the most informed minds, free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Shivshankar.
welcome. You're watching the Newshour Agenda, India's most loved primetime show at 10. I'm Padmaja Joshi. A murder that took place thousands of kilometers away from our country has shocked India and has again stirred a debate about fundamental beliefs. The murder I'm talking about is of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini. This 22-year-old's only fault was that she was wearing the hijab improperly. She was taken into custody, tortured and beaten by the moral police in Iran till the time she slipped into coma and subsequently died. Unfortunately, Mahsa's case is not the only one. Time and again, women are tortured by fundamentalists for not wearing something that ironically is passed off as choice. But when they choose to not wear it, this is the fate they are subjected to. In the case of Mahsa, the sheer brutality and callousness of snuffing out a young life is what has made something snap. In city after city of Iran, women burnt their hijab and cut off their hair. This was their statement to resist the foisting of a patriarchal, misogynist, fundamentalist concept on them in the garb of faith, modesty and belief. Activists have spoken up again, asking people to snap out of this liberal privilege to glorify the hijab as a matter of choice. Because clearly for Mahsa and thousands of women like her, there is no choice. Leave alone the choice of whether to wear a hijab or not. She didn't even have the choice of whether she can wear the hijab in a different way and stay alive. The irony though is that in Iran, in all parts of the world, while women are militating against this regressive practice, in our country, supposedly a liberal country, the same piece of clothing is being glorified even now as choice. The lived example of Mahsa and thousands like her is simply ignored because it's not the politically correct thing to say. The goalposts are constantly shifted. One moment we are told the hijab is a choice. The next moment it is essential religious practice. The next second it's about modesty. And the next it's about respect. But the hard truth is that all of this is a fig leaf. Choice, faith, respect. The fact also is that at the end of the day, what it all boils down to is a fundamentalist patriarchal belief that is being foisted on women masquerading as choice. So far, it's something that either people have believed mistakenly or for political reasons, or they've simply been in denial because it's politically incorrect to state this hard truth. A woman has lost her life. If only out of respect for her and learning from that example and ensuring that no other woman suffers that fate, will this denial end.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Alright, joining us now is Professor Lavanya Vemsani. She is at the Shawnee State University in the United States. Subuhi Khan, activist. Shadab Chauhan, Chief Spokesperson of Peace Party. Haziq Khan, Islamic scholar, with me here in the studio. Sayyida Falak, member of the AIMIM. And my first question is to Brinda Adige, an activist. Brinda Adige, has the example of Mahsa shown us that hijab is not a choice? There was no choice for Mahsa.
Yes, Padmaja, but we are talking about this in a country that follows the Sharia law, where they have the taxpayers' money. Moral police is there to ensure about these kind of things. There they don't seem to have a choice at all. And like you mentioned, neither the hijab nor the ghungat needs to be glorified. These are patriarchal, oppressive, regressive subjugation of women. But in these instances, if this woman feels that this is the only way that her dignity can be upheld and she gets to get education, or she feels that she's safe, it's everything to do with her, whether she feels like this. Why do men decide what women should wear and not wear? Whether it is the religious leaders or the political leaders. And I think women have become
here also what you're calling a choice, that she chooses that she is safe in the hijab. Does she really get to choose, or this is something that is still being foisted on her under the guise of choice? That's what I'm asking. How is hijab a choice in India but it is imposed in Iran? It's the same, right? While it's being done by the state in Iran, it is being done by the fundamentalists here in India. It's still not a choice.
Maybe so, maybe so. But if that woman has grown up, just like our President Pratibha Patil, she covered her head. Now you can't say that that is a fundamental practice that she followed. No, it was her choice. She decided that she feels comfortable covering her head inside the parliament, so be it. Maybe she grew up like that, it is her practice, she's comfortable with it. Why is her comfort not paramount?
Okay, let's ask this to Professor Lavanya Vemsani. It's only about comfort. The women choose it for their comfort. Nobody is asking them to do it. Just like Pratibha Patil's example has been given. Professor Vemsani.
Historically, religion has dictated terms, but technically though, hijab is not a mandated or dictated term from Islam. That is known, that is accepted, even by the Islamists themselves. But in practice though, that is not what is allowed to be practiced. It's a choice that a woman can choose to wear or not wear. It's not a religious mandate that they should follow. But the orthodox, as well as the fundamentalists, as well as the men in power, as Adige has mentioned, the men in power most of the time insist this is the way women have to behave, which is not right. Who decides what a woman should do? This is 21st century. Nobody has any right to dictate what a woman should do in 21st century. She has her rights to choose. And especially, do not disguise it as something sanctioned by the religion. It's not sanctioned by the religion. I am a scholar of religions, and I have studied, as well as I have spoken to many of my friends who are Islamic studies scholars. They have said, it is not sanctioned, it is not a mandate by the religion. So, why is this forceful imposition on the women? It only
that's
shows...
what they're saying. In India, if we talk about it, the argument here in India is that there is no comparison with Iran, because in India it's a choice. It's not being forced.
When the men come and argue that it's a religious mandate, it loses its value, right? It's no choice. They're arguing that it should be worn by followers of certain religion, which is not true. It's not a religious mandate.
That is what the distinction is. In India, the debate is happening, Sayyada Falak. The moment you said it is an essential part of religion, it ceases to be a choice. So you think in your head, oh, this is a choice I am making, but you have been told that if you cease to make this choice, you will cease to respect your religion.
See, of course, hijab is compulsory in our religion, but let me give you an example.
Offering namaz is also compulsory, right? But no one can be forced to offer the namaz. No one can force anyone to offer the namaz because it is compulsory. It is their choice. Only you are answerable to your Lord. Only you are answerable to your Allah. No one will go in the grave along with you. So, it is compulsory in a religion, but then it is up to you whether you want to follow your religion or you don't want to follow it. It is up to you.
Exactly. So you will have to renounce your religion in order to get freedom from hijab. That is what I'm saying. The choice should be, I continue to be a good Muslim while not wearing a hijab. Where is the choice? You have made somebody choose between the religion and the hijab. Real choice is when you say it doesn't matter. You can wear the hijab, you cannot wear the hijab, but you will continue to be a good Muslim.
Of course it is compulsory, and see, of course not wearing the hijab is a sin. But again, it's up to you whether you wear it or not.
Sin.
Only in the eyes of Allah, there are many things.
So the choice you are giving is either wear a hijab or be a sinner.
Let me tell you.
What kind of a choice is this? Your choice is either you wear the hijab or be a sinner. What do you expect the woman to say? Yes, I want to be a sinner and be ostracized from my family and society, and for my family to be ostracized. Ma'am, you realize?
In the eyes of Allah, nobody knows who is good or who is bad in the eyes of Allah. There are many compulsory things which we have to do.
Ma'am, you just called it a sin. Sitting right here, you said not wearing a hijab is a sin, and you are saying, but it's a choice. What is your choice? Your choice is that you can choose to be a sinner.
To do, we have to do.
Then how is it a choice? Why are we then even having a debate that hijab is a choice? So you are accepting hijab is not a choice, right?
No. See, whether you want to do wrong, whether you want to do right, whether you want to do good, whether you want to do bad, it's up to you, no? Nobody can force you. Of course, it is your choice.
Sayyida Falak, I'm asking you a simple question.
Wearing a hijab
is hijab a choice or is it compulsory? Let's settle this once and for all. Let's not run around in circles. Is hijab a choice or compulsory in religion?
It is compulsory in our religion. See, you are trying
then
to
the debate is settled. Let's move on. Then it is compulsory, na? Then this whole bogey of I am wearing it because I like it, no. You are wearing it because it is compulsory for you. You are told that you have to wear it in order to be a good Muslim. Settled. Hijab is not a choice, right?
I'm telling you, Padmaja, let me, complete my statement. Of course, hijab is compulsory in our religion. We have to wear it, but it is up to you whether you follow your religion or not. That is what I'm saying. Even offering namaz is compulsory, but it is up to you if you want to offer it or not offer the namaz, right? Why don't you understand?
I don't understand because, ma'am, you are perverting the very idea of choice. My choice should be that I continue to be a Hindu despite what I wear, what I eat, how I live. Not that either you be a Hindu or you behave like this.
Even if you don't wear the hijab. Even if you don't
exactly.
wear the hijab,
that is choice. That nobody will judge whether I'm a good Muslim or a good Hindu depending on what I wear. Subuhi Khan. The very concept of choice is being redefined.
You people are just pretending, you people are just pretending.
I'm not pretending, ma'am. I'm going by the diary definition of choice.
But you people are just pretending.
To sit here and say hijab is a choice, but it is also compulsory in religion.
Miss Padmaja, you're trying to misguide the viewers. The point is very clear.
Miss Falak, I have made a very clear definition of what hijab is. In fact, you have made it clear when you said it is essential for us. Simple, Subuhi Khan. Then why pretend? It is compulsory. Finished.
Yeah, it is compulsory.
I want to ask one question to these people. If wearing hijab is a choice, then what about choice of those women who do not want to wear it? Like women in Iran. Why do you blame and why do you accuse these women of being a bad Muslim or a bad woman? Some people even call them prostitutes. Some people even say that they deserve to be raped. Then where does this freedom of choice go if they don't want to wear it? Coming back to another thing what she said it is an essential part of Islam, it is compulsory in Islam. Any practice in order to be called an essential part of that religion needs to be codified in the scriptures. Hijab or niqab or burqa is nowhere mentioned in Quran. Hijab is mentioned 7 times in Quran and nowhere as a clothing item, nowhere as a piece of cloth. Hijab means aankhon ki sharam. Hijab means character ki sharam, not as a clothing item. And one more thing I want to say, Padmaja, I did not intervene in between.
No, great. So just a second. Before you finish your last point, you said it's a concept, right, Sayyida Falak? So concept is not compulsory. You can have 1,000 concepts in your head, but it is not part of your religion. You can have a concept that I will sleep in the day and stay awake at night, but that doesn't become an essential part of your religion. It might just be your concept.
The partition which separates the men and women.
Padmaja, let me come to the reason of this protest, please.
Yes, go on, Subuhi Khan.
Yes, I want to talk some logic here, unlike her going in circles. This protest in Iran, these women waving their headscarves while facing guns and bullets, this is not just ordinary protest. We must understand, this is history in making, and this was due for so long. For many years, Muslim youth have been tortured and tormented in the name of religion. A Muslim youth cannot sing, cannot dance, a Muslim woman cannot open her hair. What sin have we committed, bhai? Guna kya kar diya hai humne? Just that we are born as a Muslim. Why are you using Islam as a tool to brainwash minds? Why are you using it as a tool to make people mental slaves? Allah is the most beneficent, the most merciful. He is not a Nazi that he will kill you, he will burn you in hellfire if you will not wear clothes of his choice. Do not trivialize Allah. Do not trivialize religion. These protests, this protest in particular is a wake-up call for all the people who are using Islam for their vested interests. Whether they are religious leaders or they are political leaders. And more importantly, what happens to the choice of someone like Subui Khan who says, I am a Muslim, but I choose not to wear a hijab. She also has choice, right?
देखिए मैडम, बात यह है कि इस्लाम एक संविधान है, कुरान एक संविधान है, और जब जो आयतें आई कुरान में पर्दे की, तो हज़रत उमर रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु की राय थी कि अल्लाह के रसूल, औरतें और मर्द जो खलतमल्त होते हैं इनके बीच में कुछ हो नहीं। तो कुरान में आयत आई, और जब आयत कुरान में आई कि मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम अपनी बीबियों से, अपनी बेटियों से, मफहूम है उस आयत का तर्जुमा है कि अपनी बेटियों से, अपनी बीबियों से और ईमान वाली औरतों से कहें कि वो पर्दे में रहे। जब ये पर्दे की आयत आई तो कुछ औरतें बाजार में थी मोहतरमा, और उन्होंने अपने बच्चे भेज के चादरें मंगाई और फिर अपने घर गए। ये पर्दा है इस्लामी शरई एतवार से लाजिम।
लेकिन अगर कोई तो अगर आप लाजिम बोल रहे हैं तो कोई चॉइस नहीं रही ना।
नहीं, लाजिम है नहीं, अगर कोई
लाजिम है ना, तो कोई चॉइस नहीं।
एक मिनट मेरी बात।
So then we can end at least that debate in India of trying to pass off something.
फर्ज है, ज़कात फर्ज है, और 98% लोग अगर रोजा नहीं रख रहे, नमाज नहीं पढ़ रहे, ज़कात नहीं दे रहे, तो इसलिए शरीयत पर कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा। अल्लाह का कानून है और क़यामत तक रहेगा। मेरे कहने से, दुनिया के कहने से, संविधान के कहने से वो खत्म नहीं होगा। ये दुनिया के बनाने वाले क्रिएटर का
अल्लाह का कानून है तो स्क्रिप्चर्स में होना चाहिए ना भाई। अल्लाह का कानून है तो कोई सोर्स होनी चाहिए ना। मौलानाओं के कहने पर,
अरे कुरान में आयत सुना तो दी, आपकी कान में नहीं जा रही तो हमारा क्या कसूर है?
चले, I don't even want to go into the interpretation of religion. Brinda Adige, at least from what you have heard so far, one thing we can lay to bed that this is not choice. Can we please end? Because when the hijab debate was happening in our country, everyone who was asking little girls, minors to cover up to go to school was saying, we are not telling them. This is something that they chose. From what you have heard so far, it's clear, right? There is no choice that those girls have. They are being told exactly like people like Sayyida Falak, Haziq Khan, you have no choice. अगर आप ईमान की औरत हो, आप पहनोगी हिजाब, नहीं तो आप खराब हो। You're a bad woman.
खराब नहीं कर।
You're a bad woman. अरे सर, ईमान की औरत क्या होता है? ईमान की औरत का ऑपोजिट क्या होता है? आपने essentially बोल दिया ना that you are a bad woman. You are a bad woman.
दुनिया में उस पर कोई पाबंदी नहीं है।
Sir, hold on a second. You know the funny thing is that this whole case went to the Karnataka High Court. Brinda Adige, before you respond to that, just a second. On the issue of women are being denied their choice. Muslim women are being denied their choice to wear a hijab. Ironically, when the hearing began, here is what was argued in the court by the petitioners, appearing for the girls. It is submitted that the Quran is the highest in the hierarchy of sources of divine injunction for Muslims, being the direct word of God, followed by hadith, which are prophetic traditions, and thereafter consensus of scholars and scholarly writings interpreting the first two. The Quran in verse 24-31 prescribes injunctions for women in the manner of dress in following words, and tell believing women that they should lower their glances, guard their private parts, and not display their charms beyond what is acceptable to reveal. This is essentially moral policing masquerading as choice. You went to court saying I'm being denied my choice, and then you're arguing women should lower their glance and hide their private parts. Why? What happened to choice? Some woman doesn't want to lower her glance, but she's being told no, you have to, because it's written. Where's the choice?
This particular part of the argument is absolutely regressive, oppressive, patriarchal, chauvinistic, sexist and misogynistic. That said, let's ask ourselves, if these children and the girls, because I heard that from the age of 7, the girl is asked to wear that hijab or that scarf to safeguard herself, okay, whatever it might be. It is a practice she has grown up with, and it is the education that will be extended to her from the schools that she goes to in our country.
But ma'am, these girls have gone to school and continue to wear hijab. It is not the education or the lack thereof which is stopping them from it. It is the fundamentalist foisting of a belief that is stopping them from getting rid of the hijab, which you agree is a regressive practice.
I agree.
It's not like Sayyida Falak is not educated.
I agree with you.
She is educated. She's gone through the whole gamut of education, but she still believes that she has to because it is compulsory for her.
But
she can be a double PhD. She will still wear it.
Padmaja, we are looking at these young girls who have not even crossed 17, 18 years old. We would like them to make the same choice that the other panelist who was talking about the hijab and what Islam says, that there is nothing compulsory. Hijab is a piece of cloth, it's a concept and all of it. But when will we reach that place? When will these girls get that opportunity and space to make that decision?
But ma'am, they will never make the decision is the point I'm trying to make.
Like you pointed
that
out,
young lady in Iran, despite all her education, despite her being empowered, was not given the choice. You can get all the education. You can be in any country from Iran to America to India to Australia, but you will still wear it because you are told if you are a good woman, if you are a good Muslim, you will have to wear it till the day you die. Nothing is going to change. You educate them till the time that they are the wisest people on the planet, but they will still wear the hijab because it's an injunction. That's what they are told. That is the point. We are only making it easier for fundamentalists to keep women in a hijab by painting it as some kind of choice. That is the point I'm trying to make. It is not a choice. And Iran has shown us it is not a choice.
Iran is a different country, Padmaja. I don't think we should equate India with Iran even for a moment.
Okay, let me ask you then. Okay, hold on. I'll tell you why this comparison is happening. And let me tell you, Subuhi Khan, why is this comparison between India and Iran being made right now? Two different countries, very different societies. How can you compare the two?
Very good question, Padmaja. And I really want some time uninterrupted to answer this question. This comparison is important right now because Islamic states are not made overnight. In a country, a Muslim youth or a Muslim person is told that your language is different, your food is different, your laws should be different, your judiciary should be different, your education system should be different, and that Muslim is made a complete separatist from the culture of that land. Once the person becomes a separatist, then it becomes easier for them to put seeds of victimhood. Oh, you're not safe in this country. Then it is easy to manipulate them. It is easy to use them as foot soldiers to make Islamic State. जितनी भी इस्लामिक स्टेट्स बनी है पूरे विश्व में वो ऐसे ही बनी है. कुछ मुस्लिम्स इस प्लानिंग में आ जाते हैं, कुछ मुस्लिम सोचते हैं हमें क्या लेना देना है, वी आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड, और जब इस्लामिक स्टेट बन जाती है देन दे रियलाइज दैट व्हाट हैज हैपेंड. तब क्या होता है, तब ईरान में ये मुस्लिम के अगेंस्ट बात नहीं है, ये मुस्लिम्स के फेवर में बात है. इस्लामिक स्टेट बनने के बाद ईरान में कुर्दों को मार दिया जाता है क्योंकि वो सुन्नी है, पाकिस्तान में शियाओं को मार दिया जाता है क्योंकि वो शियाएं, अहमदियास को मार दिया जाता है, कहा जाता है दे आर नॉन मुस्लिम्स, 72-73 फिरके बना दिए जाते हैं. इस्लामिक स्टेट इज एन आइडियोलॉजी विच इज एंटी ह्यूमैनिटी और वो सेपरेटिज्म से ही स्टार्ट होती है. इसलिए कंपैरिजन जरूरी है. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
दिस इज वेयर द सिमिलैरिटीज कम इन.
Subuhi, India, my country and your country will never become an Islamist country. And that is something I think you and I must feel very reassured with. That said, every religion has its own such extremist practices. There's no religion that can claim itself to be absolving itself and altruistic in nature.
But in which other religion is an extremist practice,
including Buddhism,
glorified
I didn't disturb you, madam.
Nobody sat. Did you at any point sit and say, you know, Johar is also a matter of choice. Child marriage is also choice. That is what must stop. Nobody is saying that hijab is banned in the country. It is not. Other than schools where there is a uniform, women freely wear the hijab, and so be it. But the fundamental difference is that nowhere else is what is a regressive practice being glorified and defended as choice. That is what we are talking about, and that is what must end.
It's neither. No. If Iran, the women are asking for a choice not to wear it, it is that government that has to listen to them. Here, we cannot compare it because they already have that freedom. But what we are saying is, I will tell you what is right. I will tell you whether this is good or bad for you. And that is unacceptable. We would never question our president or any of the other women as to why they want to cover their head. Why would we only question women in this religion?
So we
question because...
Why do you think, just once, I agree with you. I want to ask you, and I want to really ask you to introspect or think more about this, that this thought, I will tell you what to do it. Why do you think this is being done? This is done to kill your rationality. This is done to kill your decision making, so that you can be used as a foot soldier, so that they can ask you to do whatever they want to do.
No, but you are talking about different people. Brinda Adige is saying the Indian state is telling the Muslim women what is right to do, what is wrong to do. You are talking about the practitioners of fundamentalism. Let me bring in Shadab Chauhan on that note. Shadab Chauhan, when we kept saying कि लड़कियां पहनना चाहती हैं, ईरान में वो 22 साल की लड़की नहीं पहनना चाहती थी. In fact, she was wearing the hijab, she just wasn't wearing it right. What happened to her choice?
Padmaja, I'm not worried about Iran or something else. I am worried about our country, our India, where Dalit women and many other women, Muslim women, Bilqis Bano were insulted. And daily more than 4 women raped in our country. I'm worried about Indian women. And second important thing, we are living in a country where our woman thinks that Sita ji is our ideal. And I want to know one important thing. You talk about
what is your point,
choice
sir?
of woman.
I'm asking you a simple question. A 22-year-old Muslim woman who was exercising her choice of wearing a hijab a certain way is today dead. Where is her choice? What was the choice made available to her? That's the simple question. And for how long are we going to keep hiding behind this little excuse of a choice?
A pregnant woman raped and murdered by goons in Gujarat, Bilqis Bano, but they were freed because they are Brahmins. BJP leader said, but you can't say a single word against them. You can't say
again. You wanted to make a very pathetic tangential point. As far as the release of Bilqis Bano's convicts are concerned, that is wrong. That is reprehensible. We have asked it to be amended, but you will still not answer the question of the countries being different, sir, but the fundamentals are still the same. And it's that fundamental that must be questioned. Anyhow, I'm going to leave it at that. We just wanted to give you some food for thought. Please do not let fundamentalism pass off as some kind of feminism. And if you really want to know what actual feminists thought about the hijab, go back and read about it. Thank you very much, all gentlemen, Brinda Adige, Sayyida Falak and Professor Lavanya Vemsani for joining me, Subuhi Khan as well. And it's not just this one young lady alone in Iran. There are hundreds and thousands of women across the world who have experienced the reality of the hijab firsthand, and many of them, for very reason, have decided to give it up. What does the concept of choice mean to them? I want you to listen to our next guest, Yasmin Mohammed, who calls out the whole concept of choice in this context as a vicious lie. All right, joining us is now somebody who has thrown off the hijab and is very, very vocal about what it represents to her and to women in general. Yasmin Mohammed, thank you very much for speaking to us. You know, it's almost as if the worst fears that you had spoken of have come true. How do you see what has happened to Mahsa in particular and to women in Iran in general right now?
Well, unfortunately, what happened to Mahsa, obviously is an incredible tragedy. And I'm very happy that you're having me on to talk about it today. I think that it's something that has been happening all over the world for years and years, and too many of us have been turning a blind eye to that. Obviously, this situation is a little bit different because she is a Kurdish Iranian woman, and because she was beaten to death by the religious police in Iran, specifically over hijab. They felt that she wasn't wearing her hijab properly. But, girls have been murdered all over the world for the same reason countless times. In Algeria, there was a whole decade, they call it the dark decade, where girls were being killed by Islamists because of the hijab. Here in Canada, we've had girls who've been killed over the hijab. I'm sure in India, you've had girls who've been killed over the hijab. In Iraq, in Pakistan, obviously in Afghanistan, this is a worldwide issue in any, not just Muslim majority country, but in any country that has Muslim extremists living in it who feel that they need to force this on their daughters, on their families, on their communities, on their societies. And they do not care about personal freedom. And, it's really something that as you said, we've been screaming about this for years and years and years. And, this heartbreaking case with Mahsa is almost too much to bear.
Do you think that in the most unfortunate way, it has completely exposed this fig leaf of how hijab is a choice?
Yes. I hope that what you're saying is true. I hope that people can see that, the word choice in this context is such a vicious lie. It is such a horrible thing to pretend that something that gets women attacked with acid, abused, tortured, imprisoned, killed is a choice. You have to look at the context of the choice when these girls are making the choice to wear hijab. What is the context? What are their choices? Their choices are wear this or suffer the consequences. You'll suffer the consequences here on earth, or you'll suffer the consequences of burning in hell for eternity. Either way, it's a threat. And you can very clearly see that girls, when they choose to wear the hijab, they are celebrated. And when they choose to take off the hijab, they are murdered. So choice works two ways. It doesn't just mean that you have the choice to listen to us or else, because that's exactly the choice that we get with hijab.
But, and we are still grappling with this issue because, ironically, the hijab in schools is being challenged in our Supreme Court right now. That hearing is underway. And the same people who are supporting women in Iran, throwing off their hijab, burning their hijab, are here telling adolescent girls, you are free. It's your choice to wear a hijab to school. How do you see this?
I see that really as privilege. I see that as people not understanding the context. They're not understanding indoctrination. So sure, it can be, we can say it's a choice, but the truth is it's not a choice. The hijab is put on girls at a very young age, and we are told, if you want to be a good, pure, clean girl, then you wear this. And if you want to be a filthy, dirty whore, then don't wear it. And then they try to pretend after that it's a choice. Well, for some people, they get the choice. Do I want to wear a skirt today? Do I want to wear a dress? Do I want to wear pants? And so they just cannot comprehend that for the life of a Muslim girl, this word choice does not come into play. Girls quite often here in Canada, and all over the Western world, they wear the hijab when they're leaving their house. And as soon as they get to school, they take it off and they shove it into their bag. They don't want to wear it. We don't want to be forced into clothing that you have decided that we need to wear to keep us modest so that we're not harassed or raped by criminals. That's victim blaming. You know, these are very basic feminist ideals. And to pretend that these women who are in these situations have the free choice, like I said earlier, it's not just a lie, but it's a vicious lie. It's so obvious that there is no choice in this context.
But then how does one understand hundreds and thousands of women, some of them very accomplished, by the way? They are women who have participated in the Olympics wearing a hijab. Athletes, you know, they are achievers, they are educated, they are sophisticated, and they are saying, this is my agency. I will be, in the House of Representatives, I will wear my hijab. I'm not stupid. Some Maulvi is not telling me that you will burn in hell. I studied.
Yeah. Okay, so two responses to that question. First of all, when I wore hijab and when I wore niqab, I also said it was a choice because I didn't want people to look at me and to recognize me as a disempowered woman who doesn't even have the ability to choose what she puts on her own body. That was embarrassing. That would be humiliating. I didn't want to admit that even to myself, let alone to other people. So I would not admit that it wasn't a choice. Secondly, we have to remember throughout history, women have always supported the patriarchy. This is nothing new. You know, even in England, when women were fighting for the right to vote 100 years ago, you had women fighting sometimes even louder than the men, saying, no, we shouldn't vote. We're not capable. We're not intelligent enough. We're not able to vote. We should leave that to the men. You know, there's always women who are willing to support the patriarchy. Maybe it's out of fear. Maybe it's because they know that this is where the power is, so they just want to support the powerful so that they can ride on the coattails, even if it means that they're subjugating themselves and their sisters and their daughters. You know, different people make different decisions. But the important thing here is that we need to support the feminists. We need to support the open-minded people who are fighting for equality, that are fighting for freedom. Those are the people that we need to stand by.
What about the argument that you keep raking this up, you keep demonizing a community, and you fan the Islamophobia that's as it is spreading?
Well, I was born and raised a Muslim. I lived as a Muslim longer than I was not a Muslim. The last thing in the world I want to do is bring hate to anybody. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring light to this situation. But not just with my organization, Free Hearts, Free Minds, or with my show, Forgotten Feminists, but, you know, every single day I'm interacting with women all over the world who are sharing their stories with me and who are so grateful that I'm speaking out for them. These are women who are in situations where they will be murdered if they open their mouth. And so there are millions and millions of women who are living the same life that I used to be living. And I was also silenced. I denounced Islam for 15 years before I finally spoke up and started to write my book. 15 years I was silent. That's how scared I was. People can't understand the terrifying fear. I mean, you should be able to understand. You can see the terrorism and the violence. You know about the honor killings. You understand how difficult this is for a woman to speak out. And so I feel compelled to do this. I feel like I have a responsibility to do this because I was silenced for so long and I know what that feels like. And if I had somebody who could speak up for me and who could help me, I would have appreciated that so much. And that's what I'm trying to be for all of those women.
Do you think that what is happening in Iran could be a tipping point, or are we so compelled, drawn by a false sense of what liberal values are, to keep in a strange way rationalizing and glorifying hijab or other kinds of head covers?
You know, I hope that it is a tipping point. I hope that you're right. But I fear that the latter part of your statement may be correct, because we have seen things like this so many times. We have seen men walking around with their decapitated wife's head in her hand and videos of it. And he talks about, I took off her head because she was immodest and dressing like Westerners. We've seen these kinds of things before. And, you know, the news cycle just continues and people forget, and then they go off and they talk about the next thing. And, you know, this is something that unfortunately is not important enough to a lot of powerful people. You know, it's really sad to see we have, news show in America called 60 Minutes, which is incredibly popular. It's always been respected for decades and decades. And even the women who are interviewing Iranians on that show, they put a hijab on. They choose to subjugate themselves. They choose to cover their shame when they are addressing a man. You know what I mean? These are powerful women in powerful positions. We see politicians, we see leaders. You know, they could be standing up. They could be saying no, even for themselves. They don't even have to speak for Iranian women or for the other women around the world. But stand up for yourself, you know, have some dignity, have some integrity. At least say no for yourself. I will not subjugate myself. But they can't even defend themselves, protect themselves. So, you know, it's really sad, but we don't expect much from them.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because in the recent past in India, as a comparison, there were 2 sportswomen who refused to participate in sporting events in the Middle East because they were required to cover their head. They decided to opt out instead. That being said, it's very interesting when we are told again and again that this is an article of faith. Do you think that here faith is being misused and misquoted to actually
100%.
cloak fundamentalism? This is not really a part of faith, is it?
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100% you're correct. Nowhere in the Quran does it describe how a woman is supposed to cover her hair or cover her face or this, you know, what they're making women do and killing women over. You know, you have to, it's important to understand that there's so many details in Islam. There's edicts that will tell you how to cut your toenails. There's edicts that will tell you how to wash yourself when you go to the bathroom. But there's nothing about the hijab. So of course it wasn't something that was so important that we're going to kill people over. You know what I mean? This is misogyny. This is patriarchy. This is vicious, evil men controlling women and using religion as the bludgeon.
And if there is really true feminism, it should not allow itself to be hijacked by fundamentalism and lulled into the sense of false choice. Yasmin, thank you very much as always for speaking to us and speaking up.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break. You're watching the News Hour at 10.
Former Punjab CM Captain Amrinder Singh has joined BJP, and Captain also merged his party, the Punjab Lok Congress, with the BJP. Prior to this, he met BJP National President JP Nadda in Delhi. Union Home Minister Amit Shah will attend the 18th formation day of the NDMA on September 28th. Congress Bharat Jodo Yatra has entered its 12th day. Rahul Gandhi, along with his party leaders, interacted with fishermen in Kerala's Alappuzha and took part in the snake boat race.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break. at 10.
ED questioned Karnataka Congress President D.K. Shivakumar in a money laundering case. He alleged that the summon by the ED is an attempt to stop him from attending the ongoing Bharat Jodo Yatra and the assembly sessions of the state. Shiv Sena MP Sanjay Raut's judicial custody has been extended by 14 days in the Patrachal scam case. The hearing in his bail plea will be held on September 21. Kerala Governor Arif Mohammed Khan took on the DLF government. The governor alleged that he was attacked and heckled by government officials in 2019. Tamil Nadu has reported over 900 cases of H1N1 influenza and 10 deaths from January till now. Health Minister has asked people not to worry. TRS worker Vijay Simha was booked for trying to slit a woman's throat in Hyderabad's Panjagutta. The woman received bleeding injuries on her throat and is undergoing treatment. A delegation of Gurudwara Shri Bala Sahib met PM Narendra Modi at his residence to offer prasad. The group had organized an Akhand Path on his birthday.
The most pressing issue, the most informed minds, free and fair exchange. Converse India with Rahul Shivshankar.
and you'll surely get the most effective treatment.
We will never stop innovating.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching News Now Overnight with me, Priya Bahel. First up, the top stories that made headlines in short. 2 days after the alleged MMS scandal hit the Chandigarh University in Mohali, 3 arrests have been made, 2 wardens suspended. Many female students of Chandigarh University have left the hostel also because university shut down till the 24th of September. Students say protests will continue till justice is delivered. As students continue to demand justice, they claim threat calls were made to them from an international number. Punjab government formed 3-member all-women SIT panel to investigate into the scandal and allegations being levelled by the students, assures strictest action. Aam Aadmi Party has appealed for patience from the students, said state government is with them. Enforcement Directorate questioned Congress's Karnataka President D.K. Shivakumar in a money laundering case. D.K. Shivkumar's summons were questioned by the Congress. They said agencies are being misused for political vendetta. BJP says D.K. Shivkumar is making excuses to evade questions and no one is above the law. West Bengal government has adopted a resolution against the alleged misuse of agencies by the centre. BJP slams the resolution, says courts found voluminous proof of wrongdoing by the TMC in the state. So will Bengal Chief Minister bring a bill against the judiciary as well? Bengal Government Home Secretary submits a report before Kolkata High Court on Nabanna violence. A report mentions that no one was arrested without a reason. ED summons yet another Aam Aadmi Party MLA Durgesh Pathak in connection to excise scam investigation. Reacting to the summons, Aam Aadmi Party alleged that it is a targeted attack ahead of MCD polls as Durgesh Pathak is in charge of the same. Kerala Governor Arif Mohammed Khan takes on the LDF government, alleges that he was attacked and heckled by government officials, releases 2019 video as proof. Speaking on Gyanvapi, All India Imam Association President Sajid Rashidi has said he has no faith in courts, asks people to take to the streets in protest to the verdict. Supreme Court hears a clutch of petitions which challenge hijab ban in Karnataka. Muslim women in Iran protested against hijab diktat, saying it is not mandatory. This comes after the death of Mahsa Amini for wearing improper hijab at the hands of hijab police in Iran. Former Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh joins the BJP. Prior to this, he had met National President of the party JP Nadda in Delhi. Massive row over Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Man's Frankfurt flight, or rather him missing the flight. Opposition claims that there are reports suggesting he was drunk when he was deplaned. Lufthansa Airlines clears the air, says the flight from Frankfurt to Delhi departed later than originally planned because there was a delay in inbound flight and a change of aircraft. A delegation of Gurdwara Sri Bala Sahib visited Prime Minister Narendra Modi at his residence to offer prasad after organizing an Akhand Path on his birthday. Union Home Minister Amit Shah will be attending 18th Formation Day of National Disaster Management Authority on 28 September. After Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra and Bihar units of Congress also passed resolutions demanding Rahul Gandhi should again become the president of the party. In latest blow to Uddhav faction, Mumbai Metropolitan Region Development Authority has granted permission to Shinde faction to hold the Shera rally at BKC ground. Team Uddhav now pins hopes on Shivaji Park for their Dashera rally. Party MP Arvind Sawant says Shinde got BKC because they applied first. Following the same logic, Uddhav should be granted Shivaji Park. Shiva Sena MP Sanjay Raut's judicial custody has been extended by 14 days in Patra Chaul scam case. Samajwadi Party chief and leader of opposition in Uttar Pradesh, Akhilesh Yadav, led a protest march in Lucknow against issues of unemployment, price rise, crime against women and law and order situation. TRS worker Vijay Simha has been booked for trying to slit a woman's throat in Hyderabad's Panchagutta. The woman received several injuries and is undergoing treatment. 200 crore scam case continues to haunt Jacqueline Fernandez. Actor was questioned by the police yet again. NIA has sought more time from NIA Special Court to file charge sheet in Umesh Kolhe murder case. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi, along with party leaders, has resumed Bharat Jodo Yatra on day 12 from Kerala's Punnapura Aravkur. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi participated in a snake boat race exhibition in Punnamada Lake of Kerala. Unchecked Hindupophobia seems to be running rampant in United Kingdom. Fresh anti-Hindu attacks take place in Leicester, with the Islamists defacing saffron flag and throwing bottles. Hindu protests against attack. Taking strict action in gang rape of 16-year-old girl in Rewa district, Madhya Pradesh, the local authorities have demolished the houses of 3 arrested accused. The Enforcement Directorate has arrested Srinivas Rao, a close aide of Telangana Chief Minister KCR's daughter, MLC K. Kavita. This after raids were conducted in relation to Delhi liquor scam. A robbery has been reported in Bihar's Gobar Sahi branch of ICICI Bank. 13 lakh rupees have been looted by 3 armed criminals. A man from Karnataka's Kalaburgi was allegedly murdered by a group using lethal weapons. The incident was caught on CCTV. 14th monkeypox case has been reported in India after a Nigerian national tested positive in Delhi, taking the figure to 9. Tamil Nadu has reported 970 cases of H1N1 influenza, 10 deaths from January 22 till now. Health Minister M.A. Subramaniam has asked people not to worry. India has reported 4,800 fresh cases and over 4,700 recoveries in the last 24 hours. When it comes to COVID, active cases comprise 0.11% of total infections. Ace grappler Bajrang Punia has become the only Indian to claim 4 medals at World Wrestling Championships by clinching a bronze in the current edition. Following her side's 7-wicket win against England, Indian batter Smriti Mandhana has dedicated her Player of the Match award to veteran pacer Jhulan Goswami. Former Australian cricketer Michelle Johnson has encountered a snake in a Lucknow hotel during his stay in India to participate in the Legends League cricket. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar arrived in New York to participate in high-level 77 session of UNGA. Indian Air Force will be introducing Project Cheetah under Make in India. This will help weaponize Israeli drones with strike capabilities. During his visit, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh called on the President of Egypt, Abdel al-Sisi, in Cairo. Both leaders agreed to further develop military cooperation. Typhoon Nanmadol brought ferocious winds and record rainfall to parts of Japan, killing at least 2 people. A 6.8 magnitude earthquake hit Taiwan, killing 1 and trapping hundreds on mountain roads. The Ukrainian army has pushed Russian troops from occupied territory in northeast of the country in a counterattack. Queen Elizabeth's state funeral was held at Westminster Abbey in London. World leaders paid their final tributes to UK's longest-reigning monarch. Breaking developments coming in. Remember, it's just 3 days to go for nominations to be filed for the post of Congress President. The elections are due to take place on the 17th of next month. Major developments coming in, which makes it look like there is going to be a contest this time for the post of President. Both Shashi Tharoor, who is a part of the G23 and is a known critic of the Gandhis per se, and pro-Gandhi loyalist Ashok Gehlot seem to be keen on contesting for the post. My colleague Samya gets us more on this. Samya, spill the beans.
Well, yes, it's safe to say that as of now we know the names of 2 such contenders for the post of the Congress President. One is, of course, Shashi Tharoor, who met the Congress President earlier in the day, and the other is Ashok Gehlot, the Rajasthan Chief Minister. Now, as far as Shashi Tharoor is concerned, he is a popular leader, a popular youth face as well, but he was also part of the G23. So he went there to meet Sonia Gandhi to make it very clear that in the aftermath of internal elections that takes place, where he could probably be throwing his hat in the fray, he doesn't want to be on the receiving end or be isolated, or, there could be a case of vendetta being unleashed against him. He has been assured by the Congress President that anybody is free to go ahead and file nomination. She hasn't really made any, issues about it. But as far as the Ashok Gehlot is concerned, that becomes an issue, because if he continues as the Rajasthan Chief Minister and wants to be the Congress President over here, then the whole concept of a one person, one post, that gets defied in the process, because that was largely discussed in the Chintan Shivir that was held by the Congress Party. Now, who is going to be then replacing Ashok Gehlot as the Chief Minister of Rajasthan? That has become a contentious issue, because he wants absolute control and decision making when it comes to who would replace him as the Congress chief in Rajasthan. Whether it's going to be Sachin Pilot, that looks highly unlikely given the political rivalry in the state. Whether it's going to be C.P. Joshi, a senior known face of the Congress Party, or for that matter, B.D. Kalla, who is a close confidant of Ashok Gehlot. Having said that, we still do not know whether Rahul Gandhi, in whose favor all the resolutions are being passed at the state levels, is going to also come forward and file nomination. As of now, we have 2 contenders, and both of them are non-Gandhis, something that the Congress Party has often been criticized for only fielding Gandhis and depending upon the Gandhi family to take up the top job. Over here, it seems that the Gandhis have consciously decided to take a back seat so far. However, it's too early to decide on that, because 24th September is when the nomination